And welcome back to another episode of Let's Set the Tone. Here with me today is a very, very special guest. We're going to give two varies in on that one as well, too. Like, don't get me wrong. A lot of my guests, of course, are going to be very special. But there's a reason why Mr. Matt here is very, very special. So, Matty Cakes.
Yeah, wow.
Right.
Haven't heard that in a while.
I'm sure you have not. So I'm going to start there. So it's Matty Cakes. I don't recall if you have any other AKAs. Is that really the only other AKA?
On my handle, most places is Madzilla.
Oh, that's right. Madzilla.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So
I knew there was something I was missing.
But the reason, so Matty Cakes is what I was on the 360, which was a pivotal moment in online gaming. So that really stuck for a lot of people. But everywhere else, it's been Madzilla for forever.
That's great. So, I can't believe I forgot that.
Yeah.
But no, it's good to have you here to talk.
Yeah, thanks for having
me. I feel like, and we've already been doing it. We meant to go live here probably about a half hour ago, and then we just started talking for the last hour, which is normally the case these days because there's just so much to talk about. And you met Britt for the first time as well too, so there was a lot of like just trying to glue a lot of pieces together. There's so much there, but overall, the interesting thing that I'm gonna jump into here with you right out the gates is the title of this episode is Matty Cakes, craft beer brewer, and architect of present day tone.
Okay, sure. I can see. Okay.
Yeah, there's a few things I want to get into.
I think we can peel that back, and then we can build it.
Yes, we're gonna
build it back up.
Yes. So, you've always had a new pulse or a pulse on like new things in tech, and we'll get into some of that in a little bit and how or why. But I don't know if maybe you still have the ability or the time for that these days. But you were the first person to show me Reddit.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm still on Reddit every day.
Sure, of course.
So, so you were the first person on Reddit, which really, and we can talk about that later as well too. But really, wasn't Reddit like almost like basically what Dignation was originally in a way?
Yeah. So going way back, there was Dig.com
or Dig.
Dig. Kind of the same. Kind of the concept was similar. Reddit was always kind of around in the background, but it was more focused on like tech, and it was kind of the nerd version, very lo-fi looking, old looking. Like when you first showed people it, what was this, 10 years ago or whatever, everyone, you look at like, what is this? It's just words, there are no pictures and stuff even. And then Dig went through a bunch of revisions, and they went through a major one that like the whole community revolted. Do you remember that? There was like a big like Dig version 3 or something like that.
Was that right around 2007, 2008?
You're gonna have to pull out these dates because time doesn't exist to me right now.
Keep talking, I'm listening.
There was a huge community revolt, and that's when a lot of the large communities migrated over to Reddit, and that's probably shortly around that time is probably where it was introduced to you.
Yeah.
So I don't know I don't remember exactly what happened.
If they've got any news out there, because I'm trying to see what year it is as well too. And of course, I've got nothing.
You've got Egyptian Dig.
I don't know
sites,
and am I the only one? Am I so old to the point now where I feel like Google never understands what I'm trying to say to it, and like
the artificial intelligence is trying to trying to do something.
It's awful. It's awful. Yeah, it's trying to Skynet us or something. Because I do vaguely remember that. I just remember you coming downstairs. I was probably sitting playing fucking Gears or something on the 360, and you come downstairs and you gotta check this new thing out. It's called Reddit.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I've been a member since that.
Sure.
Around the same time, Twitter.
Okay. We were early Twitter. I mean, it's funny when you talk to people about early Twitter, it's not even the same thing.
No.
Like, remember when we would just use it to send text to everybody?
Yeah. Because there was a few of us in Saginaw that were aware of it.
Yeah.
And it was bits we do back and forth, hey, going to the movies.
Yeah, but it was literally like a text messaging service is what we used it for. Just
what do you think of it now?
Reach out to everyone. Yeah, right.
Are you blue skying it all?
No, I'm.
You don't even care anymore.
I don't do any of that.
You're
nothing.
You're a hermit now.
Hermit. Yeah. No, I don't know if I have a Twitter account still
Fair enough.
anymore.
Okay.
I don't have any of the other stuff.
Yeah.
I got rid of Instagram. I got sick of the doom scrolling that like it does to you.
Oh yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, right. So
1 o'clock in the
I got
morning.
rid of. I still have Facebook, but it's literally mostly for like family stuff
Facebook
and kids.
fucking sucks.
I know, but
It's
you got
so
kids
awful.
and
Yeah, I
grandmas
get it.
and I mean, grandmas and great grandmas are
Yeah,
on
it's,
there.
it's literally a boomer thing now.
Right.
I mean, it's all, and the only reason I've kept it is because of the content that I do, because it's something it's a platform or outlet for
sure.
that, and for some family and friends.
But it is for finding communities and whatnot. It's good. Like I'm on a bunch of like retro gaming communities on there.
I got some,
and they're better than
true.
I shouldn't say they're better than other places because I don't look at it.
Right.
But it seems like I get decent stuff fed to me. The algorithm is working fairly well.
Yeah.
So
I get it. That's about it. I feel like at this point, like I just shit post most of the time now. 90% of it's shit posting in memes.
Right. Yeah.
And then the rest of it's like trying to promote like banter babble or let's set the tone.
Same with me. I tagged you yesterday in
Yeah,
German.
So we're
tongue. I don't know what it was.
We got a German tongue display we're gonna do here in a little bit as well too. That was great. The next one here I got on the list, podcasting actually.
Okay. Yeah, I can. Yes, I absolutely can agree with that because I was early on the podcast.
You were early,
Right.
which made me be the caboose on that as well too, because we watched the two that I remember specifically, and if there was another one out there I don't recall, but we were watching Totally Rad Show, and now we'll get into this in a bit too, Dignation, which was Kevin Rose, Alex Pereira of Dig. Alex Rose technically is
Kevin Rose.
I say Alex Albrecht.
Yep.
I just murdered that. I'm
That's
so sorry.
okay.
They're gonna see this and they're gonna be so mad.
Right.
I've been commenting on their YouTube videos. Now they're gonna block me.
I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan. You don't even know our fucking names properly. Sorry, Alex Albrecht.
Albrecht. It's something like that.
Yeah, and Kevin Rose. I said Pereira, didn't I?
You did.
I got a man crush. That's the problem. Is I got a super
that's
man
the
crush on
other.
Pereira. Who they mentioned recently as well too.
Yeah.
There was a Kevin drop. Two Kevins.
I feel like all of those. They've all intertwined quite a bit.
Call
Those
that
early
like
tech gaming.
What was the old show that Screensavers?
Well, the Screensavers, and that's what Kevin Rose came from.
That's where
Yeah, and actually, both of them.
I thought did right. Yeah.
Kevin was like on it a long time ago.
Right.
And then I think Alex was on it. I don't know. All that stuff like fizzled out and got weird towards the end when G4 became a thing.
Yeah, it sucks. The old days though, man, that was great.
But yeah, podcasting. I got into podcasting even personally well before those shows when like a bunch of audio only ones, mostly like tech based things. Like
that's where it really started, right? Was tech.
Yeah, a lot of I mean, the name podcasting when the iPod came out, that's kind of what started it. They started being able to. They created the technology to allow you to upload a feed and have content kind of being pushed out to you. Well, at that point you would download them through on your like laptop
RSS feed or some shit.
You within iTunes, you would subscribe to an RSS feed. It would download it. Then when you would sync up your iPod to your computer, do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
You had to put a wire into it and hook it up, and it would load up you would load your podcast for the week or whatever.
Wild to even go back and think about that.
But when we were living together, the huge ones, which I still feel like these are like pillars of like life almost. These two podcasts, the Totally Rad Show. Indignation were like a weekly thing.
We would watch them every week.
I mean, and it was like on a schedule. I mean, I don't remember when they came out, but it was like, shit, it's Tuesday. I can't wait to get home from
I think
work
it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday, like midweek.
One of us we wouldn't even be streaming it. Yeah, do you remember? I would like download it on my computer.
Yeah, and then
put it on like a USB
the 360
stick
or something.
Yeah, the 360. Yeah, and we would watch it.
That's so fucking funny.
It was. I mean, it's such a like you had to be there, place and time thing. Like all the tech involved.
Some of that mid 2000 stuff.
It was this new content that you felt like other people weren't getting. It was catered towards you.
Yeah.
Totally Rad Show was this, it was video games and movies and comic books and board games.
Yeah, it was and
it was produced well. It was with three cool hosts.
Now Trachtenberg,
who's gone? Yeah.
Now he was just a nerd on our podcast.
Right.
Now he did Prey, which was an amazing Predator sequel or prequel, and now he's got two more lined up that he's working on.
Before that, he did Cloverfield Lane.
Oh shit, that's right. I forgot he did Cloverfield Lane.
And then he did an episode of Boys.
Isn't that crazy to think about that?
Yeah.
We were watching him on a fucking podcast.
I know, and you like, you feel like it was like your friend or something.
Yeah,
like
right.
that's kind of how it gets weird when you watch people like that and you become part of a community like that. But yeah, it's like,
it's crazy.
I remember they had episodes on the Totally Rad show because he was always like the very, I don't know, like green, like the inexperienced dude. So
he was the quieter of the two.
Yeah, and they always had segments where it was like Dan Becomes a Man, where they would like try to teach him how to do stuff because he was always just like, and then he just blew up and started becoming.
Yeah. Now the nerd, as the nerds are ruling the world, we've got somebody who's got such a great background and passion for the projects, and you can see it. I mean,
for sure.
Prey, for all intents, like the Predator series had not been good for a long time. I mean, some people like Predators. I'm not really a huge fan, but like he comes along out of nowhere with this Prey movie and a new revisioning of it.
It's not fake. He's not just a Hollywood guy.
Right.
He's
he's deep rooted into that nerddom, and he just comes in and swings for the fences. So, anyways, point is that things that exist now today, and we'll talk about that as well too, is because of that sort of start. So yeah, I remember when we'd talk podcasts. We're watching this podcast. People, what the fuck's a podcast?
Oh yeah, right, exactly.
Now it's like you can't move
nerd.
2 feet. Yeah, I know, yeah. Fucking nerd shit are you into? So
and that's what it was then, though. It was nerd shit. There were no mainstream podcasts. Like that term didn't even exist really up until. Was it right before the pandemic when was it Serial, like the murder mystery true crime podcast came out?
Maybe
that was the big one that kind of like exploded it into mainstream like consciousness, and then COVID hit, and then everybody
started. You know, everybody was doing like the Zoom meetings and everything, and it just everyone.
There's Hollywood actors or sports stars aren't playing. They all everyone
how they can get revenue from subs.
Yeah, and I get it because there's no like that's the beautiful thing about the medium is like anyone can do it. Like it's democratized the whole thing, and you can just put whatever you want out there for better or worse, right?
Right. I was gonna say, which is good and bad as well too. But okay, so podcasts, next one actually, and we got a couple here. We're gonna jump in a second, but craft beer actually. Yeah. I don't know if maybe you do realize this.
I do.
Okay,
yeah,
okay. Because now I will say the first time I had anything that wasn't a Busch Light was I was at Bennigan's with a group of friends, and somebody was like, "You should try this cherry."
Bennigan's, rest in peace.
Oh God, yeah, R.I.P. That was my favorite of the big chains too, like that. Was hey, you should try this cherry wheat.
Okay,
so the Sam Adams cherry
gateway,
yeah, and Sam Adams, like I still got respect and love for them. They might not be the most ideal at this point in time, but they were a huge usher for the world. Yeah. And it's still like I would rather have that over than a lot of Anheuser-Busch's 99.
I'll take a cherry wheat every once in a while.
Yeah, I called it. It's one of my old faithful beers. Like if I'm looking at a wall of beers and I don't want to try anything new, which I usually try to, that's when I can grab and say, I know this is a safe bet. Yeah. I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be delicious.
I make it a point each fall to have one of their Oktoberfests.
Oh, because they're fucking awesome.
Solid. And usually Timber's restaurant that I know you frequent pretty often.
Too much,
Got your own table in the corner.
right.
But a big mug of Sam Adams Oktoberfest always hits right.
It does. It really does.
Hits right.
Yep. I'm a big fan of the bells as well too.
So yeah, we live together, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know if that we
I
said that officially, but Tone. Do you remember when did you move in?
It was mid-December of 2007.
I'm horrible with dates. 2007. Yeah. So I mean, there were weekends, weekdays, just let's head to Cork Canal, let's raid the shelf, let's find something new, let's experiment.
Timbers.
Or anywhere we go. I mean, that kind of timed perfectly with the growth of craft beer, but we really, really got into it. I mean, we were the right age, the right proximity to all these places.
Yep.
And we just
the right time.
It became a fun thing. I chase and crave that like new, excitement for it that we used to have then, because it doesn't feel the same anymore, but
there's a way you can rekindle it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's still there. But it was once again kind of like downloading a podcast on a thumbstick and put it in.
Right.
Like we're never going to be there again, but I want that feeling again.
Right. And I'm the specific reason that the the one on State, that liquor store there.
Yeah.
They started carrying craft beer because I got to know, because we were in there so much.
Yeah, I remember that.
And AJ got to know us so well.
Which is so funny because I never ever went there.
You never went there.
You guys went there all the time.
We went there all the time. I got to know AJ really well. Hooked him up with a Wii when we were working at GameStop, and we got to be so.
I always knew that name, but never knew who.
Dude, we would walk in there. There was a couple times I would walk in there. He would just give me free bottles of booze that were new. He's like, "A new bottle of booze. You want to try it?" Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, and things of that nature. So, but he always attributes it. And when I met his dad right out of the pandemic for the first time, Al. His father, the first time he was working in there and I walked in, this, like I said, this is 2020, right after you go back out to places. And AJ said, "Hey, Dad," he's like, "He's the reason we have craft beer here." And he's like, "No kidding."
Shake your hand.
He's like, "Yeah, he did." He's like, "You're
this Mercedes out front's because of you, Tone. Thank you."
He's like, "You're the guy." As he's playing all his religious music. On the YouTube and
the lights go down.
I know.
And spotlight.
Pray for this guy.
He's arrived.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of weird and surreal because I'm just like, dang, I didn't think it was like that. And AJ always attributed it to me, but like, now they've got racks of it like everybody else and stuff like that.
It's everywhere now.
Yeah, it's different.
But at that point, it was so new that it was like you would like this place has it. The other places don't. You got to go to this place. Now you can go to 7-Eleven and get a tall boy of 200 or whatever. Yeah. It's but it wasn't that way. You'd have to seek it out. Yeah. People you get phone calls from friends. Hey, they got this over there, and that over here, and it was. Once again, it was that time. It was a special time to
really random
to be into it. Yeah,
for all that came up. And I think one of the first ones I remember that you made me try, and I always talk about was I think a Two Hearted.
Okay,
it might have been the Two Hearted, and I say that because like
you hated it.
Back then I drank the IPs fine, but then when I got a taste for liquor for a while, I went back to craft beer in like 2013 or 2014 is when I kind of went forward in a different route with it. I had lost my taste for IPAs, and I've been working on it. People hear this all the time around here because Josh gives me a lot of shit about it, but I make myself, even to this day, still to go to a place, I'll try an IPA, and now it's different. Now, I mean, Old Nation, I'm a super fan of their IPAs, most of them. There's a couple that I'm a little too dank for my liking. I think it's the...
And I've always given you shit about not liking IPAs because it's one of those things it's an acquired taste, but once you have it, then it becomes an obsession. Yeah. But I understand, especially in Michigan, because I think there's just a lot of bad IPAs around.
Not only that, but everybody wants to make an IPA.
Everyone tries because that's the thing. For years it was the #1 seller. Yeah. So everyone tries, but the majority of them are awful.
Yeah, a lot of them, and I don't normally want them. But Old Nation is recently, and I've been talking about this a lot lately. I mean, they make some of the best IPAs, period. But they've been exploring other types of beers, and they are just. It's like they're knocking out of the park with everything they're throwing out. It's unbelievable. But the last one outside of that is actually for a period of their different newer metal bands. You were coming up. I want to say Asking Alexandria was because of you.
Probably back.
I also even I want to say even the Day to Remember might have been because of you.
Early like metalcore-ish band.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were the one that showed me a mirror.
Potentially. Do you remember? I have a very vivid memory. I had an Amir vinyl. And I remember playing it out in our garage.
Maybe it was you then. I thought it was Zach Gale, but it might have been you.
Do you remember the album that has Kurt Angle on the cover?
Well, I pre-ordered the CD for that.
Okay, so that I remember having that vinyl, and I have a strong memory of playing that in the garage with you.
Oh my God!
Smoking
I do know
or
you
something
saying that.
or drinking
I was probably getting
whatever.
lit as always. Yeah, I wouldn't go shot. Yeah, I'm pretty sure her favorite band is, or one of her favorite bands is A Day to Remember. I still feel like you might have been the one that showed me.
We went to a Day to Remember show together.
We did. Well, you also showed me We Came as Romans.
Yeah, we went to a We
Came as Romans show too.
But yeah, so I mean, it was all those. I was big into, and still to this day, I'm still metalhead. I've been leaning a little bit towards more like old school hardcore stuff lately. Okay. A little bit. But still, I don't know. I still like the metalcore. I mean, any of that.
Yeah. It was that whole era that like I felt like every week you were like, check this band out. Or
once again, another that time that was very much like late MySpace era. That's probably beyond that.
It was just because MySpace was starting to reach that twilight. Theme,
you had your song on. I don't even remember what that was called. Whoops. The you had a song on your MySpace
Yeah,
page.
you could have, if you had the player, you could have like multiple.
Right, yeah, sure, a whole like playlist.
Yeah.
But that was a great tool for just like learning new music and whatnot. Yeah, and that stuff grew. And I had always been, before meeting you, and getting into music with you, like I was in bands back in the day, and once again, hardcore bands that played a lot around the Saginaw area, and Flint a ton. And that was like a huge part of my life, like that whole crew. I don't know if you remember all my Flint friends who would come and hang out every once in a while.
I think I remember that. Wasn't there a bit somebody would pull with that too?
I don't remember.
Did a bit. Oh, yeah, it's those Flint friends are here.
Probably, but yeah, all my
swear.
my old homies in Flint that I still keep in touch with, and they're still all like either involved in music or art in some capacity, like doing awesome things. But yeah, I played music with them. Back then I was always playing guitar, and then I migrated towards drums, and
and then we had a rock band for a while.
Oh yeah, that was that was like a daily thing almost. I mean,
Noah Court was a destination. It was the breeding ground for rock band parties.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was crazy. Do you remember? It would be like 3 or 4 nights a week. Sometimes you would either be working or you were dating. I think that somebody else lived in Frankenmuth or somebody.
Oh yeah,
it's been so long, I don't remember. But even if you weren't around, like we were still
somebody
doing,
would stand in it. You'd have people waiting in the wings.
Well, this thing
need a drummer.
Exactly. That was the thing. We always needed a drummer, and you were the drummer. And when the drummer wasn't there, it was always like, well, the drummer's playing on easy because they're going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's just wild to think about that these big things and that's why I say it's almost like you were the building blocks of a lot of the things that today that I'm still into.
Sure.
Podcasting, craft beering, clearly
and you already had all the video
piece of shit and Reddit,
Yeah, you already had all the video games, and you had all
had a lot of that
the other nerd stuff covered. But yeah,
you help culture me in some other ways as well too. So I always attribute that to that, and that's always
appreciate it.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, but it's also interesting too because you're an ex GameStop employee, which is kind of
is that a theme? Is that what
it is? Because like I feel like when you're an ex GameStop employee, you have a different you know certain people.
Yep.
And you just have a different way sometimes of looking at it, or even some of the stuff that we talk about, because you're also into games and things of that nature as well too. So, and I know like Grevin, that's how originally I got to meet him, and he was part of the circle. Was Grevin? He was somebody that would hang. He's in my Discord, so I still talk to him pretty frequently as well too. Hey, Chris. But, so Grevin, so you guys all work together too. But specifically, what was it about Mel that made you so scared and terrified with Mel for so many years?
I mean, geez.
Was she pretty intense?
Very intense. No, Mel was a sweetheart. And it's funny to think, like, man, back in those times, hanging out at the mall, like all of our significant others would be around all the time, all the time. So, and me and Chris were super, super close. And I don't know, just always long running gags with everyone else's significant others. I mean, everyone, it just gave everyone else shit back then. I started at GameStop. So I predated you, oddly enough, even though, our paths crossed through mutual connections and whatnot. But I started at GameStop in 99.
Holy Jesus.
Yep.
I didn't realize it was that far. Oh, yes, that makes sense.
Dreamcast had just launched.
Oh, man, R.I.P.
to put it into perspective, I worked the release of Diablo 2.
Oh man.
I'm trying to think what else. I want to say, if I remember, there were a few big ones when we first opened, and this was even pre GameStop. This was Software Etc. Babbage's GameStop
software.
Was still. I don't even remember if GameStop was a part of the company yet, or if that was a separate thing.
That didn't happen until about 2005, 2006 when they bought like EB and all that stuff.
Yeah, I can't remember the whole how it all happened, but we were a Software Etc. store, which really just meant we had a wall of PC software, which some of the other ones were just the summer ones were mostly console games and would have like a small thing. We had a whole. Yeah, I shouldn't say whole. That store was like the size of a
850
closet.
Square feet. I don't know if you know this. That was the smallest store in the entire company, even when I had it in 2010.
Yeah,
850 square feet.
Yeah, and before Software Etc. moved in there, it was a My Favorite Muffin.
That's funny.
Yeah, and the only reason I knew that was because when we first opened up there, they had
free muffins in the drawers.
No, well, they had ventilation issues, and when they got up on the roof, there was like mold and shit from all the like the dust, the flour and crap that went up.
So you guys are taking black mold for a year or two.
Cancer now. But I don't know. I lost my train of thought, I think, there. But we started. So I was at GameStop for like 7 years or so. So I worked at the store in the mall, the Fashion Square Mall.
1031.
Fashion Square Mall. Just the other day, found I was going through some of my old games, and I had a 1031 sticker with my initials on it on the back of one of the games. And then I worked through the FuncoLand merger. That was the first one.
Yeah.
Because FuncoLand was a separate, they were the rivals across the street.
Right.
Those assholes over there. But when we merged into one, I worked both stores. I helped over there. And at that point I was probably a key holder, so it was weird at 1031 because we had a store manager and then we had 2 key holders. There was no assistant. There's 2 key holders and
sounds
a store
about
manager
like 1031
for a while, and it was me and Brett Porterfield.
Crazy.
And then at some point, Grevin came on, and then Gator Kevin. I don't know if you probably didn't know him.
A little bit.
You might know the name.
Yeah, K-Diggs a little bit.
He came on, but yeah, it helped over at the FuncoLand across the street for a while. Yeah. And at some point, I can't remember what the chain of events led to me being the manager at 1031 for a few years till I got sick of it. And I did the smart thing of stepping down because I was like, this is horse shit.
Right.
So I basically stepped down to assistant manager for like almost the same amount of pay, but way less.
Still got your discount.
Way less trouble, way less responsibility. And then even further than that, at some point I stepped down even from that.
Yeah.
Like I just want to not even have to deal with any of this stuff. And I had other things going on at the time that I was scheming up anyway. But yeah, I lived that life, that old GameStop life. Got the whole web of connections that we've made through that have turned into lifelong friends. You know?
It's really random how we didn't work there at the same time, but there was still satellites of some of the old guard, new guard, and different people. Yeah. Like I know we were talking about it like when you first arrived. It's just so weird to stop and think about how all that kind of frameworked around here, and just the people that are either not around as much anymore, or kind of partly, or who whatever it is. It's crazy. It's crazy. I know, like, Rohit and I always talk about it because you had gone out before the dark times, before the Empire.
It was dark in a different way, though.
Right. It was getting bad then, but like
it always sucked, but it's
it got pretty bad. So
at least at that point, we fortunately worked through some of the most like exciting times in gaming.
You sold me my Metal Gear Solid 2. I got a Metal Gear Solid 2 back here.
I don't remember, but you were one of the knuckleheads lining up at midnight.
I was in there.
So, but yeah, I mean, the launch of PlayStation 2. I mean, like, how big of a moment was that in gaming?
Still,
nothing's gonna be ever like that again. I mean, the wait list that we had and the people just.
The trajectory that generation changed video. Like I'm a big Super Nintendo guy and will always be. And the PS4 era and that release was awesome as well too. But the PS2 release era, that was a different trajectory. That, I mean, you can't, like, even graphic wise, like that was such a huge jump between PS1 and that. I mean, just
like the
library and everything,
the explosion in the whole industry. And something that doesn't get talked about a lot too that I always remember was the Pokemon, like the initial Pokemon craze.
Oh shit!
Selling fucking Game Boy Colors, man. Those things.
Oh goddamn, yeah.
Like you'd think you'd get robbed out in the parking lot, like coming, because like Christmas time, people, that was just bonkers.
I dealt with that with the Wii though.
Yeah.
The Wii era was
probably similar feeling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There were UPS drivers like getting
mugged for their Wii. Which is so crazy to think back. Like, for Wii Sports.
Right.
I mean, really.
I mean, that's really it, right?
The best game ever for it.
Yeah.
Was the bundled
right
software.
Just don't smell the Wiimotes. No, after that, you just don't do that. So let's switch back gears here.
Sure.
I want to jump into a little craft beer, and so perfect to do that now is we're gonna crack. And the first one I'm gonna have you try here. We're gonna split some beers. This is Getting Twisted, the German pretzel ale from Third Eye. As everybody knows, super fans here of it's my favorite brewery. So then I got a couple more here for us to try as well too. And if you can't tell, we've got a great Untapped and a great Better Made. If you're out there watching. Sponsorships.
Guys make some great chips.
Check out
pretzels.
Yeah, absolutely, and some of the best of both too. And not only from Michigander standpoint, just like it's a fact. Like they make some of the best snacks like that. But check their website out for swag. It's cheap as hell. It's insanely. You can even get a better made clock for like $12.
Do you have one back here?
I
You're
should
pointing.
get one. I really should.
Okay.
I know. Sorry to get you excited. Now I'll start with yours, and we're gonna do hard pours. You're probably gonna freak out.
I was expecting a slightly darker beer.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah. Wait till you get the sippies going on there, and we do hard pours.
I didn't even look at what this is. So this is a German pretzel.
Yes, it's a German pretzel ale. So I'll even read it.
Right.
The award-winning beer, which is a fact, was inspired by everyone's favorite salty snack pretzel. It's a German barley, rye, and wheat mingled with a touch of salt to deliver this delicious, one-of-a-kind liquid pretzel experience. You get the breadies in this.
I do. I get the pretzel. Yeah,
I'm get a little bit in there.
I'm kind of surprised by how.
I'm telling you, wait till
almost
you sip that.
And I don't say this negatively, but almost like it's so intense, it's almost artificial.
Yeah.
Like you almost think.
Yeah, I'm gonna take offense to that actually. Oh
I'm
shit!
gonna take offense to that.
It's your beer at you.
I think we're good though, right? That all.
It's fine. No worries. That's what it's here for. Anyways, moving on. Should I lick the table? Maybe I should lick the table. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, God, I love this stuff. So now, since we've been down to Third Eye a lot recently, I've been buying a lot of 6-packs of it. I don't have much left, unfortunately. And even while we were down there, we were drinking it constantly as well.
I'm intrigued by it because it has a pretzel finish.
Yeah, it's weird
somehow. And it, like I said, to achieve that that level of flavor,
the brewmaster at Third Eye
makes me think that there's something going on.
He is a mad scientist.
Sure.
I have a can over there. You can see the big tall can is a crowler over there. It's called Alien Bait. He did it for the Horror Hound weekend 2 years ago, and it literally tastes like you took a handful of Reese's Pieces. It's a blonde. He even said, like, by the time he put 25 pounds of Reese's Pieces through, it's not even a beer anymore, basically.
Right, yeah. It just becomes its own. And you can do that nowadays. With
beer, it's crazy. But, this is, Josh and I especially, we're, like, fanatics for this stuff. And we sat down with the Third Eye, one of the co-owners and his wife recently, and apparently this is one of their most, like, asked for beers constantly. So, hopefully...
Did you have it on draft when you were down there?
Yeah, I've had it on draft before.
Better
than
draft?
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah, that's good.
It's just so light and bready, and you even get a little bit of that salt.
Yeah, it's really bready. Yeah, I did. There wasn't as much salt as I was expecting because I think that would be, if anything, you could punch that up a little bit more because I like my pretzels salty.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
But yeah, I could imagine like this would be wonderful at the brewery on draft, carbonated a little bit more because you get that little bite from the carbonation with some pretzels and some beer cheese or something.
Yeah,
you're talking. Yeah.
Yep. I'm can't leave it alone. So I wanted you to try that one. I figured that's
go down fast.
That's a good one for you to try. Yeah, I know. I wish I had
not enough.
I don't know if I got. I wonder if I got another can. I have to look, see if I got another can. I got so much beer right now. I don't know how to go through that. So craft beer. So we've already established that you were a big trajectory for me to be at where I'm at now. Now, like what I was kind of alluding to is like for me, it's like Pokemon. Like I literally
got to catch them all.
Right. I don't buy if I can get away with it. Right, my entire exactly, and on the sticker on the monitor. I don't usually buy a lot of 4 6-packs unless I know it's something I like or I've tried it before, because I like. And this was the thing when we first started drinking beers too. I think Cork and Ale started it. We could do the pick 6.
Yeah, just grab
a 6er and
who cares
try
what it is, just something you haven't heard of or whatever.
Try some different stuff, right? Yeah. And nowadays that's how it's like, there's not a lot of places in town that let you do it. I have to go to Eastman's out in Midland, and they've got a really good selection.
They have like that cooler, yeah.
They have the whole area in the front there.
The old like vegetable rack there.
Yeah.
That used to be a produce back when I was in Midland. That was like a produce shop.
Now it's like
Valley Produce is what it was.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. See, I learned that too now. And now it's like a great, nice little, just small little market, but like a liquor store, or whatever. They got meats and cheeses in the back. You can get freshly sliced stuff. But it's a great place to go to get single beers, and that's what I typically like to do. And you'll go in there, spend $80 or $90, and it's just buying singles. But then I enter Untapped, and I got a baseline, so it's let me explore. So that's why I'm saying, like, for me, that's what it is. It's like Pokemon these days. Which is crazy because, again, from where I started to, meeting you and drinking like, oh, this Busch Light's awesome or whatever it was back then, or Bud Heavy. But for you, what was, if you recall, what was the first craft beer you had, or maybe that turning point into the new world of craft beer? Do you recall?
So I remember specifically when I had my first craft beer.
Okay,
not knowing much about it, and this is going to tie in very well to
good
to all of this conversation, because it all is intertwined. So years ago, I was all through early college, I was big into Counter-Strike PC game.
Oh Jesus! I forgot that you
still play.
I was gonna say you probably still play.
It's what's been with me
right.
for life.
Yeah.
But I was in a clan based out of Ann Arbor called the Cheese Eaters. We're still almost all still friends to this day.
That's gnarly.
And we would every once in a while, usually like once a summer, we would go meet up in Ann Arbor and just bar hop and whatnot.
Sure, hell yeah.
And I remember one time we met literally in downtown Ann Arbor at, I think it's Grizzly Peaks. It's one of the old craft breweries. I mean, this is like pre-craft brewery. I'm pretty sure they're still there.
Remember, is it?
And I want to say it's part of the same family. I'm not sure if it's Grizzly Peaks. They weren't ever a brewery that distributed or did anything more than just a brew pub.
Right.
But we met there, and this was, gosh, I mean, probably 2003, like early.
Wow,
early.
early.
You know, it was before craft beer was like what it was. But we met there, and a couple of the guys were like U of M grads, and just in the whole the whole Ann Arbor scene. Yeah. So they were
the tracksuit top to bottom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they were in the whole I don't know, like they were the hip Ann Arbor, people, and so
craft beer and hipsters. We've never heard that one before.
Exactly. And this was all like even pre-craft beer and pre-hipsters, but they were those guys. So we met at a brewery. Long story short, and I remember going there, and they're like, "Yeah, you like craft beer?" I'm like, "Let me try."
I like beer.
And I remember having a some sort of stout or porter or some sort of darker beer, because they're like, "Oh, if you're new, this is try." Usually, that's what your gateway into craft beer is through.
Mine was an IPA.
No, that's why you're like, "Oh, hey, I fucking hate this." But usually, it's a more accessible beer, a stout or a porter.
Well, if you're familiar, like for instance, I still love Guinness. Like that's that's a great like step above. Like
and it's funny because not a craft beer, but you would kind of think from an American palate, you kind of think it is, or it's a novelty thing that you drink once a year or whatnot. If you get it from the right place, it's you can't beat the texture and everything. But it was in Ann Arbor, with the Counter-Strike clan meeting at a brewery. It was me, my cousin Justin Mulatto, because he was in the clan. Text him back.
Yeah, hey, you got me on fucking hold all week, dude. What up?
Come on.
I still love you though.
But we drank some beers there, and then it's funny because we would drink bar hop. And then there was a LAN center in downtown Ann Arbor, somewhere, like in the basement.
I think I do remember that
what
as well
called.
too. God, I miss those.
But we would be, like, shit faced, and then all right, let's go play Counter-Strike at this LAN center and just like wreak havoc at this place. Right. They don't even remember what we're doing, but so much fun. So that went on for years, and to this day, some of those people are still good friends that keep in touch and whatnot. So the
first beer was you don't remember the name, but it was a stout.
Yeah,
for
something.
Sure,
I know something
from that brewery.
Darker. Yep.
Okay.
For sure.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
that's cool. Awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Going back even further than that, I do remember like my dad having Rolling Rocks every once in a while. That was like the fancy, the fancy beer.
Remember? Yeah.
And that's from his side of the family is from Pennsylvania. And that's where Rolling Rock was from.
That makes a lot of sense.
It was always like a special thing. We'd go visit family in Pennsylvania, and he'd bring back like a case of Rolling Rock or something like that.
Right.
And then I also have a memory of touring the old big brewery in Frankenmuth when I was young.
Oh man.
Yeah, like actually doing a tour.
8-year-olds right under the tap like Barney and Simpsons. Yeah.
They at that point they brewed Mickey's malt liquor there, and I have a sign.
I remember
from that still.
They were. I'm a huge fan of. Maybe you don't know this, but I love malt liquor.
I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised? Okay, great. But I love, I found a Mickey's at the Metallica concert a year ago at a bar downtown, and buddy Jared went. He came back with these. He's like, "You're not gonna believe this," and he had Mickey grenades.
I wonder where
I was like, where in the fuck did you find, like, I was freaking out,
Yeah.
right? You know, and we've been drinking Old English a lot around here too because we've been doing Brass Monkeys. So I know, I fucking love it. 40 of Old English always sounds good. But I do remember that Frankenmuth brewed Mickey's that being a thing.
They like the old brewery there was in town, right on
right there.
Where the Rivertown crossings or whatever,
Not far
those
from
shops
Tiffany's,
there.
I think, right there.
Yeah, right, yeah, kind of like right over the river there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it got destroyed by a tornado, and they never rebuilt the big production
Motherfuckers.
facility there. It was like a big. Originally, it was Black Label. I shouldn't say originally. I think it's because there was an old Frankenmuth brewery from like the 1800s.
Right, and that was the one I remember growing up as a kid. Cause my mom had and my grandpa had a bar. He had a Black Label what's the word?
Premier.
Paraphernalia?
Paraphernalia?
Whatever word that is.
Sure.
Holy shit,
Okay,
how many
sure.
have I drank today?
Yeah. I didn't even know what word you were going for.
I get glad.
That's how far off it was.
Half a day.
Shit.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, so but then they did like contract brewing for, I don't know, a whole bunch of other stuff.
Man,
there.
and me and you hit up a couple of those down there, too. What was the one outside of town? What's the one outside of town?
Sullivan's Black Forest. Do you remember that?
Remember we had dinner a couple times there in beers.
That sounds familiar.
And then we had the other
that
one
was like
down.
an old school.
That was
old school brewery.
But they renovated it or something, maybe.
I don't remember. They ended up closing down, but they were kind of pivotal to the scene in mid Michigan because they did all the judging for the World Expo beer was done there,
Which is held in Frankenmuth.
Yep, and then the World Expo beer also used to have a home brewing competition, and all the judging took place there.
Oh shit! Okay.
So they were pretty big, but it's kind of a weird place. Just one of those I don't know, old school breweries, like brew pub places that never really. It was, I don't know.
Didn't get the recognition or the.
But it never had like a cool factor to it. You know what I mean?
That's
you felt like you're going to like a banquet.
Well, when you went in there,
Frankenmuth-y.
Just
like
you're right. Because I remember being in there and being like, we're in Frankenmuth, but it didn't look very Frankenmuth-y there. It just looked it looked like the basement, just very gray and
just
like
weird.
Yeah. I remember
weird.
that. I remember that now that you say that too. And the other one downtown was nice because it had all the big like boiling pots and shit.
And that's the new Frankenmuth.
Yeah, that's
brewery.
one that
and they claim they're like the oldest brew pub in Michigan, but they were like.
Are they lying?
Well, I think there's no lineage directly back to the original company. I think it's just a new set of owners came in and there was an abandoned company and
now they're using a tagline.
They brought it back up. But I've got love for that place though. I mean, it's.
And is that what makes like the Hefeweizen now and everything? Because not everybody's sold on the Frank. I'm not saying they're the best beers around.
Yeah, and I never would either because they're traditional.
But I'll tell you what, I love Hefeweizen. I still pick them up.
Many breweries make them, and when they're good, they're some of the best.
Yeah, and it might not be the best ever out there, but it's one of the places I can get one locally still, and I still pick them up.
And they have a Dunkel there that's really good.
They have a Dunkel that's not bad, yeah.
So they've got, as far as I know, they have they do brew on site there, but they also have a production facility just outside of town, like just a warehouse where they do larger brewing. So
I know, like for me, what the first local craft brewery that was on my radar was. Do you have one in particularly? Do you remember?
Like within our area?
Within our radius, let's say our the 25, 35 mile radius. I can think of one for me, and it was actually how I got Westfield. Was it called? What's that liquor store on? I can't believe Westwood Plaza. The Westwood liquor store. The first beers I got in was from this brewery specifically, locally. I just didn't know if you had one.
No, I don't. So no, for the longest we kind of suffered here locally, I think, because the two breweries, I guess the two originals, Midland Brewing Company and Tri-City Brewing Company.
And that's the one I'm referring
to. That's what I assumed because they were, I'd say, probably the better of the two.
Right. Midland's trying still
and doing better.
Yeah. I kind of like Three Bridges a little bit more.
Yeah, I like Three Bridges a lot more. And
they got a sour that's
really good. So the brewers at both of those establishments are really, really good. And I'm friends with both of them. But I don't know. I remember I liked the old Tri-City Brewing Company, going there, the old location.
So you were the
charm to it.
Yeah. There's is that the one where you had sometimes had to crawl under one of the doors? Sometimes
well, it was, I don't know if I ever crawled under a door, but it was just like a cinder block production facility, place kind of over by the river there. Nothing fancy about it at all. So there was a certain amount of charm to that. Different than the Sullivans, banquet hall. This just had more of like a ruggedness to it, very
Right.
blue collar type place. Midland Brewing Company used to kind of be that same way too back in the day. They were just a brick building with nothing fancy going on, but they got a huge lump of capital once they got through their bankruptcy or whatever
Right.
happened to them. So yeah, so Tri-City, yeah, but like I said, neither of those really
Right.
enticed me too much.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So I feel like for I guess maybe for me, because I mean we've always had Founders, we've always had Bells and stuff like that, and I just remember like for supporting local, because I know you're big on this as well too. For me, like once I started, I'll never forget when I started drinking Imperial Slayer,
sure.
and I'll never forget the first time I had a Loon.
Yeah.
And I used to love the Loon. And for some reason, I'm not as in love with it as I used to be. It's a great summer beer, citrusy, lemony.
For a while, they had it at the Loons games, which was like a match.
Yeah, yeah.
I think some distribution changes happened, and they weren't able to get it anymore.
That
something
sucks.
like
That sucks. And like the Imperial Giant Slayer or the Imperial Stout, I've witnessed that. I want to say it's like a 12% ABV. I've witnessed people fall and knock themselves out in their ass on the drinking that beer. There was one guy that we used to hang out with. We were painting minis one night in between D&D sessions. He drank 3 or 4 of them and was around the P unit toilet for a good little while. I might have to resuscitate him. He's been dealing with a little.
I got a little thing here. Yeah.
Little cold here. So, you want me to get you some tissue?
Just give me a little break here for a second.
Okay. But the Giant Slayer is a high ABV stout. It's not like, it's interesting compared to some stouts, whereas some stouts, it's either going to be like a motor oily, like a bourbon barrel aged, or something that's just like super thick. This kind of falls, I feel like, in between. But you don't get the booziness when you're drinking out of it. At least I don't recall. I haven't drank it in a long time. But I saw somebody drink this, like I said, 2 or 3 in, and I was drinking them too, but I wasn't drinking them. He was kind of drinking them fast, and I was like, dude, like, you need to back off a little bit because you're crisscrossing right now. I think we were smoking blunts or something too. And next thing I know, he's like, oh, I go to the bathroom, and this dude passed out hugging around the toilet that we had downstairs at Noah Court where Matt and I used to live. And he was locked in that. Like, I was trying to get into this bathroom downstairs at Noah Court to try and help him, and he, like I said, he was basically hugging the toilet. I don't know if he ever got really sick, but he was absolutely got his ass kicked by the Giant Slayer. It didn't help again that we were probably smoking a blunt or something.
And who was this?
This was I can't remember his name. He was just, I don't even know. You may have met him once or twice. He worked with us at GameStop, but it's been so long. I literally don't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm going to think about probably when we're done talking. So,
all right. Sorry about that. I had a little coughing fit.
No, hey, that's no worries. No, we still keep rolling. So yeah, so Tri-City was the first local for me to consider. Like, it was I just remember outside of like the big names being like, man, this is something local I can tie to, or whatever it was. And it was because of the Loon and the Giant Slayer and literally watching it slay somebody one evening. So, so we're going to just basically for a moment, I know we're going to talk about IPAs. I'm going to go next to now.
Yeah.
You like the M43. I think you're one of the first people actually the reason I had an M43 many years ago, because B-Dubs always, I think, caught it as well too. I'm trying to think.
They were early, yeah, and it's something that
they've always got on tap.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising.
Yeah, and I'd say most of the time when I'm at B-Dubs, if I'm getting a beer, I'm usually getting an M43 because there's nothing finer than a tall and M43.
Fresh and
oh my God, it's so good. But again, what I've been saying with Old Nation is they've been doing so much great things. I feel like, one of my biggest complaints is IPAs, or has been, but also the state of Michigan just loves them so much. It's always like, hey, we're doing IPAs or whatever.
It's not just the state of Michigan, it became a global phenomenon. I mean, as a whole, craft beer is kind of in the decline right now, but IPAs are still number one.
Yeah, it's wild to me. But I wonder part of that is because it's almost like now they're crafting different. People are getting their hands on them and doing different things. I think, we always talk about, again, Third Eye in some of the spots in Ohio that once they opened up their craft brewing in the last 5-6 years, it's become like, taking the top off the Ark of the Covenant in Raiders because they like some of the beers that they're getting down there. Like when you look at Michigan's staples and their bigs and their beers, and then you look at what some of these guys in Ohio do, you're like, Jesus Christ, like I've never even thought we could ever have anything like this, right? But IPAs is also one of them as well too. And one of my favorite things in IPAs is lactose because it kind of cools some of the hops in it. So you're shaking his head already. But back to Old Nation specifically, they started doing some things that are M43, which is giving them a taste or just a little twist. And I'm always excited on 420 every year because the strawberry version comes out, and I have to.
And that's become a big thing now, like the last 4 or 5 years.
Huge. I hunt for it, and I usually get 3 or 4 4-packs. Yeah. I've still got one in the fridge that I'm just waiting for a special day. Yeah. But then they did the orange creamsicle they released a couple months ago.
Which I did have that.
Yes. And then they did the pina colada, which was also pretty awesome.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds good.
But so far, my favorite, because I love raspberry, and I love raspberry in my beer, and they did the raspberry M43. Okay. So
I'm excited for this one because I have not tried it yet.
I'm excited for you to try it because it is awesome. And I've gone through, this is the last one of, I've done 4 4-packs since it's been out. And just like a lot of beers nowadays, they're keeping them more to a limited release. So unfortunately, this isn't anything that you're going to be able to get whenever you want it.
It smells just delightful.
Dude, I'm telling you, like.
Well, it's a good base. It's a good base beer to layer. And really the style as a whole, any of the New England styles are good for adding fruit to, adding something on top of it.
Yeah, it's the real dank shit that I struggle with, man. Like, that's a question. So with half-ass beer review and a lot of the guys in that circle that he talks with, how do you feel about hard pours? Does that make you mad?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, would I do it that way? No, not a chance. But am I going to be offended if somebody pours me a beer like that? No. If you could pour me a Coors Light and I would take it and drink it.
So from the way I understand it, and I'm just a guy, is a lot of the people like that, like either Josh's, maybe it's Josh's opinion I'm going with, is that it, and maybe this is not wrong or right or whatever, but it helps like aroma, open it up a little bit.
I could see that.
Yeah. Because I know like the side pour, you're not getting a lot of the head. You're you almost, some people say they're losing some of the flavor. So yeah, I know Brent's offended.
Yeah, and if you so there's a right way to pour and a wrong way to pour.
Is there?
It's proven. There is. Yeah.
There is a right and wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, if you go to a bar that knows what they're doing. So, and if we talk about a brewery, go to Oracle here in town and see how they pour a beer.
Right.
They're pouring it at like about a 45-degree angle up until about the last 3/4, tilt it, and then create head. The head is usually about 2 fingers worth, and that's intentional to provide the aromatics.
So from a guy that has brewed a lot of beer as well too. Yeah. So
we haven't talked about that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, we will too, don't we? But so what you're telling me is that you think probably the ideal way is a 45 along the glass and then hard pour the rest of it.
Yeah, because what you've done here is now the beer from here down is not as carbonated as it should have been anymore.
Ah, okay.
And you'll taste that. If you drink it right now, it's going to taste a little flatter at the bottom. And what you lose from that is when the CO2 is released from the beer, there's the CO2 provides an acid that creates a little tang, and you'll lose the little bite from the beer.
Oh, half-ass beer review. I've got something to tell you. That's right from the horse's mouth. So,
but like I said,
I think
I started by saying there's no right or wrong way, but then I said there's a right way. But
how delicious is that, though?
Oh yeah, it's wonderful. It's if you told me to guess what fruit flavor this was, I wouldn't be able to do that.
You wouldn't get raspberry out of it?
I wouldn't get raspberry out of it. I would get berry.
Yeah.
Like I'd get fruit, I'd get berry. I could probably work my way to raspberry.
Sure.
But it's not in your face.
And I feel like this has been around for a minute as well too. So it's possible it's lost a little bit of that because I feel like earlier on, and I do feel like, and here's me going on my tinfoil hat again, I do feel like this beer, and this is still pretty chill, I feel like this beer, the flavors unlock a lot more when you're getting close to room temperature. So if you let it sit in your glass a little bit, I think you're going to get more of that raspberry flavor. But
I could see that. The coldness dulls
right. And I have even said that as much as I love this, I always want more raspberry. Like I love Rubaeus, and if I can find it on nitro, I'm laying under the tap, So
well, yeah, and Rubaeus that's on another level of raspberry. Like that's like a beer flavored raspberry smoothie,
Yeah, it's
as
so
opposed to
good too. So good.
you know, as opposed to the other. So raspberry. Okay, the vanilla comes through a little bit too.
Yeah, it's a little creamy, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I was trying to see if they had any other insight as to what they put in here, because it is lactose free. Actually,
Is this?
it does say that lactose free.
So
what you're
again,
interpreting as lactose is that
creamy.
vanilla.
Is that vanilla?
Yeah.
See, it's the fucking vanilla.
And you claim to not like vanilla, but you secretly do.
How did you know that? Have I talked about that before?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because we brewed together once.
Oh, that's
and
right.
I thought I was being a sweet friend,
Yeah.
adding some vanilla and coffee to it. And then you're like, I'm not a big fan of vanilla.
I made
Well, fuck you too, Tony.
well, the thing about vanilla, so like the first time
The thing about it is that it's good.
Yeah,
and
it
you
is.
really,
and I think over the last few years that's kind of changed since we've done that as well too.
am I going to give you vanilla ice cream and you're going to be like, get this shit away from me? No.
You know, it's funny too because I don't even really like chocolate ice cream either. I would prefer vanilla over chocolate, which is weird.
Yeah.
But to me,
That
like
makes no
it's such
sense.
it doesn't
with,
at all.
with everything
I
you
know.
say.
It's so fucking weird. Because I usually want like Blue Moon or something.
Okay, sure.
You know.
Sure.
That I like Grandpa cereals, Grandpa candy, and Grandpa style ice creams.
Okay.
I want them kind of simple flavor. I'm not looking.
Shredded wheat, little.
Exactly. I got mini shredded wheat right now
There you go.
upstairs. You know,
Alright.
huge fan. But like I don't like Sundays with all the candy on it. I think that's annoying. I mean, yogurt Yeti's fun once in a while. Get some stuff on it. But even then, I mostly want fruit.
Yeah, you want the Macy's yogurt bar experience.
There you go.
Yep.
Wow, I don't know. I haven't thought about that in a long damn time.
Yeah, that's a cut, but yeah.
That's a deep cut too. How about that bathroom in Macy's?
I don't know.
So when we were working at 1031, what I learned right away from the crew there was if you want to take a night, because we had to shit in the public ones.
Sure. Oh,
there wasn't a bathroom at that GameStop. And
you'd go to Macy's?
you go to Macy's and they had a real nice, just smooth, like butter. There was one in like one corner that was just really nice. You could sit in there for
And it was like a 10-minute walk to get there, so you
Right.
could milk it and
well, not only that, you could like see your friends at other stores or whatever it
Gosh,
was.
man.
Yeah, that Macy's bathroom, man, that was the hidden gem there. That
that's hilarious.
I thought that's where you're going with that, but that's funny. But no, I'm glad you at least got to try this as well.
This is
too,
wonderful.
so-
This is thank you for sharing. I haven't had a beer from them that I haven't liked, so they've done great things. They came
Dude.
out swinging as the like one, I shouldn't say the first, but they're one of the first with a predominant New England style IPA, and it was great and it's hit, and once again everyone tries and very few succeed. So
yeah. Old Nation is one of my favorite breweries. In Michigan, it's one of my favorite breweries, period. And it's my favorite place to get IPAs typically at this point. And my tinfoil hat theory as well, if you've not heard it, is that I feel like it's something to do with the water, the way they filter the water. I feel like their beers overall, all of them, including like the Finestrum, what's the blood orange one as well too that we had? I think that was the B43 maybe actually. No,
it was the
there's the other one, the warped or something like that, or the
there definitely is a blood orange B43.
yeah. There I knew
really good.
there's I'm trying to maybe I'm thinking
And
something.
the last time I was at B Dubs, they had B43 instead of M43 actually on draft, and it was really good.
That's wild. Okay.
Yeah.
That's wild. But just all their beers always just feel refreshing. Like there's like a key of refreshness to it. And like I said, they've been doing. If you haven't tried any of their non-IPAs right now, holy shit! I'll have to see if I got a Finestrum out there because you need to try that too. It's like a old school like Czech dark lager.
Okay.
Holy shit!
Yeah, and it's as much as I love my IPAs, the classic styles have kind of made a comeback in my life.
Yeah,
for sure. So
you like Kolsch?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I like, and even just like a good old American lager of any kind, like it's the spot. You know, there's something that I don't know if it was, probably a little bit was just being stubborn and being, the craft beer guy, but like for 10 years I probably didn't have one, or if I did, it was just in passing at a picnic or a barbecue or something. But going back to those, and you realize like why we drank I shouldn't say why we drank so many, because we drank for different reasons back then.
True.
But just like the refreshing nature of them and like the crispness is, I don't know, it's very appealing. So yeah.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
Good. I'm glad that that was the first one you got to try here then. So, and is IPA still your favorite overall? So,
absolutely. Not even,
I
there's not even a close second.
I figured. I assumed.
Not even a close second. I really like, it's seasonal for me. So during the winters and stuff, I do start looking at stouts and porters and whatnot, but I'll still take an IPA. That'll be my choice. You know, usually it's what, if they don't have an IPA I want, it's, you know, that's what I'm picking. So yeah.
What's your thoughts on ambers? Should it just be Marzens?
It depends on Marzan. Well, it depends on the style, but could be a lager, which can provide a different flavor profile. Not always. So I don't know. You know, as far as like ambers, the one highlight I would say from Midland Brewing Company was their Copper Harbor amber ale, which was like a solid amber. So I might like them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So let's kind of switch, but kind of keeping this too. So, you opened a brew store roughly 10 years ago. Do you know year?
Yeah. So we would be in our 11th year right now.
That's what I was wondering.
Actually, maybe 12th.
Okay.
I can't remember. Once again, you're the dates guy.
Yeah. I don't know.
So we, back when I met my wife and I were dating, at the time I was, homebrewing and just getting started into it and doing working in software. My day job was working for I just finished working for an e-commerce company, like running their website. My wife at the time, or my girlfriend at the time, was working for an e-commerce store for a family business that her uncle ran. So we were actually at the Winter Inn in Greenville, Michigan, if anyone's ever been.
I've passed it and curious about it.
Fine establishment.
Yeah, is it?
It's old and kind of cool on the inside.
Greenville's really blown up.
I'd the birthplace of Meyer, man.
Oh, that's right.
The first Meyer Thrifty Acres.
The Thrifty Acres. See, he
was there.
Name dropped Thrifty Acres.
Yeah.
The store built on common sense. Yeah.
But anyway, so we were there drinking one night and putting our head together, saying, "Hey, we both have had entrepreneurial."
You've always had that.
Yeah, I've always had something going, whether it was a website or something. So this was just another, like, let's try to put our combined forces together and come up with a business idea. And right then and there, we were like, well, I'm getting deep into homebrewing. We both do this e-commerce thing. Let's start a business.
Fuck.
Right there, drunk at the bar on my phone. I registered the website and everything.
Holy
It was
shit.
like, we're doing this. We're locked in. Like right now, let's do it. So over the course of the next, I don't know, 6 months or so, we started just kind of trying to figure out how,
right.
not how do we actually do this. And we started selling supplies out of our house, like in the basement.
I don't know if you, I think I remember you telling me.
So we
that,
just did it. We were just on e-commerce only, and that went on for about a year. Slowly grew, and then we're like, let's try to actually get a physical store, and that's when we opened up in downtown Midland, and then we were
in a cute little spot.
Mm-hmm. Then we outgrew that spot, and then we moved to a new spot, and we were there for the business was 10 years. We actually closed down last year.
Right. Okay.
And it was kind of a weird closure because we didn't need to close, but it was just draining. And we had.
I mean, you guys have been working on a family. You got 2 little ones.
And that was the biggest factor.
Yeah,
we had we throughout this we'd had 2 kids, and we couldn't spend our nights and weekends there. And then labor costs are just crazy, and finding other people to care about it. We had a few potential suitors who expressed interest in buying the business, but nothing ever came of that. We ended up actually liquidating all of our remaining stock to one of our employees who now opened up a shop in Bay City. I don't know if you actually knew that.
Did I meet? Is that a gentleman that I met?
Yes, Nico is his name. You probably did. He was probably brewing
one of the brew things.
So he opened up so he's kind of carrying on our legacy.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
still same name or his own thing?
His own thing. And we still have full ownership of the company. Actually technically still exists.
Right.
We're trying to figure out exactly what to do with that because we've got some software that I made custom for making beer recipes and managing the process. And a lot of people still use that, so that's still active and running.
That's kind of cool.
That's
kind of like a legacy for you. That's kind of.
But I've lost the desire to like maintain it. I'm just kind of keeping it out there. So I'd like to spin that off, but I haven't really had the time to look.
Anybody want to buy some software?
Yeah, want to buy some brewing software? Anyone out there?
Anyone out there?
A little
maintain
niche,
some stuff?
but but there's value to it for sure.
Sure.
So yeah, so I mean, throughout the course of that, that's really where my knowledge of, like, you know, I always enjoyed beer.
Yeah.
But then I went into making beer and learning. I mean, you saw it firsthand. Come in, let's make a recipe. Come in, let's look at the shelf of, you know, 50 grains.
Eating some of them. Oh my God, that's a different level too.
Yeah,
when you get to actually eat some of those.
Let's mix them up, and that's, you know, and I'll help guide you through that, because I've got the experience there, and then we can come up with our own beer and make it, and make it your own.
That's pretty neat.
And and sadly, since we wound down operations, I haven't brewed a single beer.
That's awful to hear that.
It is awful to hear. Yeah. I literally have 7 kegs in the basement that are all empty now.
It's like alcohol abuse.
I know. It's sad. It's very sad.
So now, doing something that, with a journey with your partner who, first of all, much more intelligent about the beer thing now than you. She's she's a different
smarter,
level.
better looking.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, cooler.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
All these things check. So, but doing something like that with somebody that you know, your wife, your partner, whoever.
Yeah. Challenging. Very.
I was gonna say, is there like it's probably a mix of things. Like, that's really cool to say you did that. I mean, I feel like you gotta be the right type of people to be able to do that.
Sure.
You know, but also I can see that's challenging.
Yeah, and it was, so throughout all of this, my real job, and I often say that jokingly. Yeah. I'm a software developer by day. Right. I never stopped doing that job. So I've been in software for probably 15, maybe longer than that now. I've been a web developer, and throughout this whole journey, fortunately, the companies that I work for have given me the flexibility to go off and do other things. You know, it was never a conflict whatsoever. So I helped build the business, but Nicole was the boss. Nicole was the 40 hours a week.
You walk into Michigan Brew Supply and it was like,
it's her shop.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Matt's silent
partner, yeah,
which is cool. I mean, that's cool.
I was sometimes the douchebag to show up on the weekends and tell everybody what to do. Right. You know, the boss is here now. So, but no, she manned the ship. So, challenging at times, because when decisions are made, it's tough when there's 2 people that need to make the decision, and you can't 50-50 a decision. You know, you gotta
bounce back and forth. Some of us are a little stubborn.
Oh, same. Yeah, absolutely the same. You know, but she had her background was in e-commerce, was in business. She went to school, you know, she has a business degree. She has an accounting degree. So she had all the, you know, I literally brought like my dumb ass with like, I can make beer, you know, that was my contribution. Right. You know, but which, you know, I don't want to sell myself short. It's very valuable to building a brewing company, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny too, because, you know, it's funny where we complemented each other was, like, she had huge, you know, she was very apprehensive, because she's like, what am I going to do if you're not there and somebody has beer questions? Like, she's just getting into this. Like, for me, I had kind of dove in, you know, I was reading the books and you know, at the time watching, you know, there were some early brewing podcasts, of course, that I watched. Brewing TV was a big one. And so she kind of had to real quickly start absorbing that. And she did she, you know, could make a better recipe than me, you know, now. And she knows the ins and outs of brewing, like, you know, more than I do now. So she quickly, that was her struggle. Her struggle was, I'm kind of in over my head here, you know, from a brewing point of view, and I was in over my head from a business point of view. So it was a pretty good,
that's awesome
mix there. So.
I can see, I mean, clearly, again, you know, the challenges, I can see that, but to have that kind of like just support all around and anything you could think of to be able to do that together. I mean, that's not, I don't think everybody could say they could do that. Like that's not easy, no matter how you start to.
I think we're, you know, we haven't really given ourselves time to like reflect on it. We're proud of what we built.
Yeah, you should be.
And we're like, I'm personally, I know she might have some mixed feelings, because she was more invested in it than I was. Because she was there all the time.
She was the boss.
you know, and she really, the reason we decided to wind it down was because she's the one who got another opportunity in the business space. And being a small, you know, a small business for yourself, you know, you're paying all the benefits. You are, you know, saving your own retirement, you know, everything is just harder.
Yeah.
So it was difficult, but looking back on, I'm proud of it. I think we probably got out of it at the right time,
Right.
you know, as things have just kind of been slowed down in that space. You know, homebrew shops and retail in general is just suffering.
Everybody's fighting online for the king.
Yep.
King,
Yep.
queen
And
spot.
then we, you know, and I think we did it smart by establishing online first. Like
Right.
that was our focus. And, you know, the long-term goal was just to keep that going. And even after we closed the shop up in Midland, we did keep online up for a little bit, but it was like, it's not worth it. It's still like, we still have to care about it. And that's what we were trying to get back. It's like, I just want to be able to like clock out at 5 o'clock and then, you know, now you're dad and, you know, whatnot. You don't have to worry about it. So and we can take vacations.
Right. You got,
Stuff like
you got
that.
more time now.
Get time off. Like,
Yeah. No, I mean, I know I've been up there for, I'd stopped through or one of like the beer, you know, the brewery day, like the, whatever what is it? Like the National Brew,
it's either Learn to Homebrew Day or
like a homebrew, like special holiday or
we had
whatever.
a bunch of,
Yeah.
a few times a year we had events.
Yeah.
there.
I got to stop up for a couple. You'd have a food truck there. The torches, Jesus,
yeah.
that was a crazy highlight. But, you know, it was cool to see that element that, you know, you being the person that got me into that, to seeing like, I mean, there was a bunch of homebrewers. People were driving all over the state to just come out with their pots and
Hang out.
brew
I know.
and hang
It's
out.
ridiculous,
That's
yeah.
pretty neat, though. Like,
It is cool.
I mean, that's something that's special shit that you were able to do and build. And now, like, even going to Oracle, like, you know, Cody, you know,
Well,
I mean, the people around here.
Circling back, the head brewer at Midland Brewing Company, former employee.
Yeah.
Head brewer at Three Bridges in Midland, former employee.
That's wild.
The original, so when Oracle opened, it was Cody, which you know, and then there was a guy named Nate,
Okay.
employee of ours, who now brews at Boston Beer Company.
Which is now Sam Adams, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Sam, yep. It's and Sam Adams and Dogfish Head.
Oh, that's right. That's
together.
right. I remember that now. Yep.
The we're talking about M43 here, a brewer that we met through the shop who ended up marrying us was a brewer at Old Nation. She's now moved on from there, but we've
That's crazy.
there was a very, very, you know, very GameStop, like there was this tight network of people, like when you were growing up in this, like the craft beer bubble, you kind of just like,
Yeah.
you know, I remember one time we went up to Traverse City and there was a brewery there and I can't remember their name now because they changed. They used to be kind of like outside of town.
Is the one that begins with a T?
I can't remember their name. They're downtown now, but they
Okay.
weren't. But they had a little like homebrew shop
Okay.
in there, and then it was a brewery, and it was real community oriented. Like the homebrew club could come and brew on their system, and then they could, like
That's cool.
you could
That's
you
cool.
could serve your beers there. But anyways, when Nicole and I went there, one of the owners came up to us, and he's like, "Are you Matt from Michigan Brew Supply?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Come in the back room." He's like, "When I started brewing, I bought all my stuff from you guys, and now here's my brewery." And he had like all the old equipment in the back, the
Holy
fermenters
shit.
and carboys and stuff that he had bought from us, and now he's got the full brewery, and they moved downtown and
Wow.
whatnot. So
That's
it was just a
kinda
real
nuts.
cool community
Yeah.
that we were a part of, and we still are. I mean, we don't drink as much, and obviously we don't get out as much, but that, like, I don't know, we still have that network, kind of like the GameStop people, where you've got friends like kind of all over the place.
Well, it's cool. Like when we were doing those sort of things, like, you know, I didn't know anybody, but everybody was really cool. And you were like, hey, this is this where you were pointing some people out, you know, things of that nature. It's just cool because, like, you know, you'd go to like some of the little fests around here, like at least the winter fest around here. The first year I went, had a lot of home brewers there as well, showcasing their brew. Which
Those are
I'm
a good
not
time.
going to the last one was.
Oh, and I missed the last one, actually.
You're good.
Yeah,
You're good. You do need to make it out to Great Lakes Beer Festival though.
sure.
You really do. That's a good time. That's a good time.
That's the Dow Diamond one.
That
right?
that's
Yeah.
there's a lot. We'll
have to coordinate that next
It's a
year.
blast. It's a great time. It's awesome. But no, it's cool because, like, you know, like Drassen, for instance, one of my longtime best friends, you know, he brews at home now. He's got his thing, you know, and he's always trying stuff. He's working on one right now that I've helped come up with the idea for. So I'm
I
excited.
met him at after the Comic-Con 2 years back.
Yes, we were at Oracle.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
Yeah, so he's been doing that. He's getting, better and better. He's one of those people, much like you. Like, you start something, by the end of it, you guys have mastered your fucking craft.
I mean, and homebrewing it's a hobby like that where you can start without knowing anything. You just follow the instructions, but you can dive in real deep if you want to.
Yeah, and you guys, I can see the two of you having a lot of that and the similarities of that as well too. So, let me ask this: what of the brews that you've made, what's a favorite that stands out to you? Like, that was the best brew I've made.
I don't know if I've ever had one like that. I mean, there's hundreds of them.
Okay.
I've brewed hundreds of beers.
So so much at this point, right?
So even to pick one out, I have to say the one that I brewed with you was probably one of my better.
Did I get a drink of that?
Yes, you did. You
was I drunk?
Delivered a growler to the Midland Comic Con, and then you guys drank it on a Banter and Babble.
Yes.
And this was the vanilla. It was a vanilla something stout.
That's right. I'm glad that somebody else
sober
enough to remember that.
So good that you just remember every detail. No, I primarily, once again, as I'm an IPA lover, so I brewed a lot of IPAs, and I liked experimenting with those. So I don't know. It's tough to choose.
You did a saison for that one Winterfest?
I did. I've probably done a saison. I remember doing like a lime lager, like a Mexican lager for one of them.
That saison that you did was really good, though.
The one Winterfest that you didn't go to, I did a double IPA that so I had it in the keg, and then from the keg, it went through, I took a water filter that I stuffed with hops. So it went from the keg
oh my God.
through the filter to the spout. So and I stuffed fresh hops in there throughout the course of the night, which was incredible. So I've done a bunch of crazy things like that.
How dry was it?
Not very.
Because
and this was kind of like a Hop Slam clone-ish style beer, but just like crazy fresh hop, because you're literally getting infused with fresh hops on the way out of the tap.
Nonstop, yeah. That's cool.
So yeah, and literally like hundreds. I wish I would have kept a journal of all of them. I mean, there was probably one year. Through the business, we got in with the library system here in Michigan. So I was doing brewing classes at libraries throughout Michigan.
So for like a 2-year I'm gonna go and check out a book and also check out a beer.
I brewed all over the state in libraries, which is the weirdest thing.
That's crazy.
Anywhere from the library in downtown Saginaw to like South Haven to Novi.
What?
Went all over the place brewing.
That's wild.
And it was awesome because they would all pay. right. And I got to like drive, go and see a place and stay overnight usually and do a brewing demo.
That's cool.
And the beer comes back with me. So we just had tons of beer. I always love like the teaching aspect of the business.
Yeah.
And just teaching people about beer in general.
Yeah. Well, when you're enthusiastic about it too, you can share that and pass that on as well too. I feel like it's somebody like personally that I know. You're the first guy I know that got me into craft brew. You're the first guy to talk about it like that. Got me drunk. Probably touched some bud or something. I don't know, but yeah, definitely. That's crazy. So let me ask this: right now, do you have a favorite beer right now that you're like? I don't.
I'm a embarrassed, pathetic member of the beer community now, because I think we were talking about this earlier, how kind of like mid-pandemic and post-pandemic, a lot of people in our peer group started drinking heavily. And I think that was due to people being off work and whatnot, just having a hard time with everything.
Mess.
But for some reason, Nicole, like for our family, we kind of went the opposite. Like, I probably went a couple months without a beer at some times. Pathetic, isn't it? I know.
I'm scared.
I know. We were like, I'd go into the homebrew shop. I'm like, I'm a fucking poser.
I'm a fucking poser.
What am I doing here?
That's funny.
No. So I still there's nothing that just has really has kind of brought me back on, me back up on the horse. Okay. So there's still I keep the beer fridge stocked. I still have tons of homebrew, like just bottled stuff.
Yeah.
Or just leftover stuff, gifts that's another, one of the big benefits of being at the homebrew shop is people always want you to taste their stuff.
They want to impress you.
I'd have fridges loaded with just random stuff.
Gnarly.
I maybe next time we do this, I'll just bring a mystery box.
That's
because I don't even know.
Awesome idea.
Don't even know what it is. Yeah, don't even know what it is.
Okay.
So we've always got beer, and I crack one open every once in a while, but there's nothing. There's no like mainstays or anything.
There's nothing. There's no life to you. There's just this emptiness,
just
void.
This darkness.
Right. I mean, jokes aside, you guys have built an awesome family. I got to be at, was that Ollie's first wrestling event?
That was, yes.
I got to be at your son's first wrestling event with Rohit Raju. Are you kidding me?
Incredible. He's still, his picture's on the wall still.
That's awesome.
You're on the wall.
There you go.
I have to look at that sweaty ass every day.
Yeah. That's funny. So, one of the things about beer is, of course, public when you're sharing and you're getting hammered. So it sounds like it's been a while since you've been able to really tie one off, I'm guessing. That's what you're kind of saying. Yeah. Okay. Have you ever gotten so hammered at like a wedding that maybe you actually sneaked a peek down your friend's mom's dress by chance?
Are you asking for?
I'm just wondering if this is if the rumor is true. Maybe somebody named Grevin's mom maybe got a little. Peek.
That's funny. This I don't remember any of this.
Oh no?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, it's possible. Okay. It's possible. The one thing I remember about Grevin's wedding
was his mom's dress.
Was his mom being so hot. No, I actually don't remember anything about that. I remember Grevin's wedding took place during the Red Wings playoffs. And I remember people sneaking out to watch a hockey game at the bar.
Sorry, Grev. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's all I remember about that.
That's on you.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
You don't remember the peaking? I heard you got busted.
I'm trying to remember. Gosh, things get foggy. We're going back a long time.
Yeah, you're talking, that would have been like what, 2000? Christ, you don't do the date thing. So that boy,
the 80s?
Yeah, right. Jesus, I know.
The 80s? Yeah. I don't remember.
Man.
I'm trying to remember even anything around that event.
I'm gonna follow up with Grev to make sure he follows up with you. Yeah. Do you get a chance to talk to him very often?
Not often. And I wish I think about you often, Grev. I bump into him at the grocery store. Such dad.
Yeah, he sent me a picture today. He was at Meijer over here getting a Fago, and he's like, "Hey, did you find this yet?" I'm like, "Yeah." You know what I mean?
That's a Chris thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's very.
Literally, the last time I saw him was at Meijer.
Yeah,
and probably the time before that was probably at Meijer as well.
It's the Thrifty Acre.
I mean, they should have a bar where the dads can sit.
Man, if they did, you ever been to Horrocks?
I have, yeah.
If they had a bar at Meijer, I would never leave Meijer. I love Meijer.
Yeah.
Man, can you imagine? Just even if like 4, 5, 6 on tap, some local.
It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just give me a pint to walk around with.
Give me a Rubeus on Nitro like Horrocks does, so I can have a Rubeus.
Have like a daycare like IKEA has. Yeah. A little play area where you can check them in, check them out.
We definitely blow up some IKEA around here, don't we?
And away we go.
That's great.
It would be awesome.
We got to do it. We got to figure it out. We're gonna have to follow the Grev on this one.
I'm curious too because I'd like to unlock some memories that maybe I've these years of therapy have helped me.
Mel, you were terrified of Mel, and then you were checking out Grev's mom's dress. So I'm gonna take a pause real quick here. So I'm gonna run to the bathroom because, as everybody knows, I have the bladder the size of a bottle cap. As you too.
Yeah,
you're ready. Perfect.
We won't go at the same time. But,
no.
Yeah.
Why? All right, I'm gonna put up the BRB screen, y'all. We'll be back in just a minute or two. All right. Now we got the little potty break out of the way here. Now I finally am going to let you try
And I'm
one
scared
of my
this
new
one.
favorite. You should be. This is Pipeworks Brewing Company Pastrami on Rye. Josh and I are humongous fans of this. So just to get a little backstory on why it's a little bit different. The rye ale with smoked malt, brown sugar, black pepper, coriander seed, red pepper, and mustard seed. Literally tastes like a pastrami sandwich. So, and I did find a finestrum as well too. So I'm gonna have him try this yet as well too. So I'm excited about that. So smells so far.
It smells oddly fruity.
Oddly fruity. Okay.
Kind of like you.
I was waiting. I was fucking waiting for it too.
Thanks for the softball pitch there.
No problem.
Okay.
There's a lot of layers to that, right?
There's a lot going on there.
The pepperiness is my favorite part.
It's actually it's on the spicy side. Like it's beyond pepper and spice are a little different, right? But it's actually got some heat to it, almost habanero like.
Yeah. Do you like spicy beer?
I'm
a big
no,
fan.
not particularly.
Oh, really?
Not particular. Like it's a novelty. I don't hate it, but I don't want a pint of it.
Okay.
Usually.
I got a couple beers I'm gonna have you take home so Nicole can try later too, or at least one that she can sample too.
We should just okay.
I want her thoughts.
So this is interesting. It's complicated. So before the show, we started talking about like a few things that I don't like in beer, and one of the things is
anything outside of an IPA.
And anything that doesn't have 500 pounds of hops in it. No, and a smoked malt. I just don't. I love smoked food.
Yeah.
I love the smell of it.
Yeah.
I love all the things, but in a beer, smoked malt just doesn't do it for me. I'm not sure why.
I get it. I feel like I can be hit or miss as well too. I love malt just generally.
Sure.
But I can see the smoked malt being a.
This is very smoked malt forward. Like that smoke, the smoky taste you taste here. If you were to crack open a bag of smoked malt, that's it. It's that 100% match. The rye, don't really pick up on that.
Don't pick up the rye, okay.
Only because there's so much other stuff going on. If this was just like a rye beer with no black pepper, mustard seed, red pepper, you'd probably be able to tell because the rye would generally be picked up as a little bit of spiciness naturally. But there's 10 other things contributing to the spiciness.
Do you like it? How do you feel about it?
I feel like it is bordering that novelty.
Okay.
Carrot,
like I said, I'm a big fan. Now,
this would probably so if I was drinking this with a meal, I think I'd probably think a little bit differently for it. This isn't just have a pint of beer for me.
Sure. Okay.
This is I want to be eating something along with it because I'm not going to pound. And I think that's probably how I feel about most spicy beers.
Okay.
It's not just a drink. It's not a beer. It's
fair.
It's a sip it over the course of a meal.
Okay.
Or a podcast.
I was gonna say I got some dehydrated bananas over there.
Is this where dinner is served?
Yeah, I can already feel it. So I do feel like it's fair for me to say as well too that compared to the first 4-pack I had, the first 4-pack really, I felt like I was able to layer out the mustard seed, maybe some of the dill from the pickle and the coriander. Whereas I feel this doesn't have the layers as that first 4-pack I had. It's still a delicious beer. Like again, like I love that smoky maltness. But not always, but like it works for me.
This is heavy smoke, heavy spice.
Yeah.
I don't get much in
It's
between.
the black pepper finish right now. That's
and
the big
it's
piece
like
of it.
you feel that back here.
You do.
This also has coriander in it, which you would never know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick at least in this, and maybe because it's sat for a while or whatnot.
That's what I'm kind of wondering. I feel like when Drassen picked this up, it might have been at the like very tail end of its run. So, and again, because we can't, our distribution in Michigan is awful. We can't get a variety of beers in here like I'd love, but so I have to get them smuggled in from Ohio half the time. That's where he finds this. When he finds it, he knows he's got to pick it up because I'm a big fan. So, but just different. Yeah, I always want people to try it because I'm like, this is
it's unlike anything you're not going to go get this anywhere.
Right. And you're going to be probably hit or miss if you're going to buy it ever again. Except I will. Yeah. So
brown sugar as well. Huh.
Yeah, and you don't really get that as much either. I feel like. No, I mean, I get maybe just a little because it was like a caramelization, something like that. But
when you add brown sugar to a beer, the sugar is always just going to get turned into alcohol.
Yeah,
you're going to be left with a little molasses-y flavor, which you could see that in there.
Yeah,
it's hard to pick out though. Yeah, but it bumps the alcohol up, which is why this is 8%. So that's probably.
I fucking wish I had another one because I would love to have you take one home to Nicole too. I'm gonna
I'll tell her all about it.
Do that. Make her watch this. All right, so I'm going to switch gears here and go back to one of the topics that we originally talked about. And since we're sitting on one, I do want to talk about podcasts a little bit more specifically.
Sure.
So actually, you're on one, by the way. Just so you know, I know
This is being recorded.
I know. So, how did you end up finding Totally Rad Indignation?
So I don't know the direct path there. So I was so back in that era, always into computers and games and nerd stuff, and the tech TV era.
Oh yeah.
Screensavers, all
Morgan
that
Webb.
stuff.
I'm still thinking about you.
What was that show called?
That was Screensavers, wasn't it? She was
on there, but there was the game show.
She was one with Adam Tesler.
Yeah.
It was
a big
X-Play.
Yes, X-Play.
And he
even before it was Tech TV.
Yeah.
It was ZD TV.
Yeah.
And then it was very much more tech focused, not gaming, not hip and cool.
Nerd.
Yeah. See what Windows 3.1 was all about. That's
right.
But so the guy on there, the main guy from the Screensavers, Leo Laporte. Mm-hmm. He was the first one that I knew of who started doing all of the podcasts.
He used to follow me on Twitter. Just want to throw it out there.
But he still to this day, it runs like a big podcast network. I mean, so much so that he was trying to get him to be called Netcast, because he's like, these aren't these aren't pod specific.
Right.
And he still to this day is putting on.
Is he really?
He has a whole huge
didn't realize
network.
that.
Yeah. So he's one of like the OGs of the podcast.
He was the guy in the tech industry back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, he was like the public face because he was on TV and whatnot. And I remember Screensavers used to come on like just around like dinner time. Yeah. Like it was always kind of like a nice, cool, like get to see computer shit and
eat my mac and cheese and watch some cool shit.
Right, exactly. And then then they started doing X-Play and they had a bunch of other shows, but it was all kind of tech focused.
Adam Sessler was doing what before that in the 90s though? It was before X-Play. He was doing a video games thing. I remember watching late 90s, and because I would watch it in Syndicate, because I lived out rurally, so I didn't get fucking cable.
Right.
It'd be like Saturday morning. I'm trying to remember if it was. I don't think it was X-Play. It was something different.
No, I remember for a while there was GamePro TV, or GamePro had a show, and it was the dude from, was it a Nickelodeon show?
Oh no shit!
It was like some younger cool dude from like some, I don't know, some Nickelodeon game show. Anyway, regardless, but to get back to your question. So from there, somehow, like when Dignation and all that took off, it was all under the banner of Revision 3. It was like this network.
That's the fucking name that I was trying to think of. It was Revision 3.
So this was like their thing. And it's crazy to think about that, because like these shows weren't on YouTube or anything.
No.
You had to either go to their website or you would download them, via their feeds. So somehow through like that whole like Tech TV falling apart, they merged with G4. That all kind of fell apart. Things got weird there. That's when all the podcasting stuff started taking off. Yeah. And somehow, not exactly sure how, stumbled upon.
That's what I was going to ask. How you stumbled? I guess I just got dived into that a little bit.
And I don't think I really know. I don't think I could pinpoint when or how that happened. But it was through those.
There was a lot of time
through that network.
That period, I feel like there was also some blurs too.
Yeah, right. Well, Kevin Rose though was on the Screensavers, and it's possible that on there they started talking about Dig.
He might have promoted
and whatnot, and then from Dig,
Alex,
the website Dignation became a thing.
Yeah,
and then from there, once you got into Dignation, they probably advertised the other shows that they started, and that's where Totally Rad Show came up, and they had a few other shows on there too that I can't remember the names of them, but that I used to watch. It was because it was very tech specific type stuff, or not really tech. I don't even know what you'd call it, because it was like that's about the time where like the nerdy stuff started getting cool. You know what I mean? Like it was that transitionary period where it just became a little bit more mainstream. So yeah, it was all through that though.
Crazy. Sure. And when you said earlier, when you've unlocked a lot of memories today.
Right, and that's what I'm going through right now.
Yeah. And
Grevin's wedding, I went to that.
Right, no shit. And for me, like, I'm pretty good about a lot of trivial things, but there was a period in time, partly through 2007, once we get in 2008, there was like a 2-year time warp for me where we were drinking a lot. I mean, drinking a lot, like eating hot dogs. Coors Light. I mean, we were going to Bruce's and tackling Coors Light. Speaking of which, there
$4 pitchers of Coors Light. Remember
playing
that?
Pool. Yeah. It's still one of my all-time favorite, a dive bars still. But like, so a lot of the stuff that when we're talking about it, and the big reason why a lot of this is relevant, and I'm going to get to a moment, is as to where, again, how it's built where I'm at now, even and who I am. But what do you feel like of the two of them, I guess in particular, like, man, it's hard to decipher, but I feel like we enjoyed both of them. But like, Totally Rad was great because it became something that I feel like was a building block for content that I did.
Absolutely.
But,
I would agree.
But yeah, right. But at the same time, when you look back and think now and how I am now, it's almost like Dignation is the true, because the things that they were doing, like, it was like I mean, at one point those two were like, it was like fucking a major party. I mean, they were filming, they were filming
like,
events,
like the late night shows and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You know, they were. I remember
like
seeing them
rockstar
on
shit.
Jimmy Fallon and stuff like that. You know,
yeah.
They became like internet celebrities. In
Yeah.
a way, before that was even a thing.
Yeah.
This is all things. So much has changed. Like really, just with the evolution of YouTube and then into Twitch and whatnot. This is all pre that, which is just, it's like a different world.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because, and we'll probably get to this, but Dignation is coming back, or is back now.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you can see in some of their episodes how they're like kind of learning the new way of things. They're like, oh, we need to get an Instagram account and like something like that.
It's funny. Like, they're talking about the YouTube recently as well too.
Like they weren't on YouTube before. You know what I mean? Like that's like it's almost crazy to think.
You had to go to their website basically and that sort of stuff.
Or you would download a file. A file. Like that's the last time you downloaded a file. You know. You stream everything now.
Yeah, you stream your porn and everything.
Everything. I mean, yeah,
it's no joke.
Well, yeah, as far as like, you know, inspiration wise, like the two of those shows, I think I related to both of them because it was, Dignation did a thing where they would just sit and kind of just talk about a story.
Yeah,
like whatever.
The
top things. I mean,
the big things on Dig.
Yeah, the things that were like to the top of Dig, like upvote to the top, and they would just, it was two guys, you know, it was they kind of created the podcast, or the definition of podcasting, right?
Yeah, it's
two guys sitting at a table drinking a beer, and that's what podcasting was. And it was always so fun because they were peers, you know, of a similar age group, similar interest, it seemed, tech focused, video games, etc. And it was very much like we just kind of like grew with them. Totally Rad Show, same thing. Totally Rad Show was cool because it was hyper focused on the nerd interest that we have. It was the games, it was the new movie, and this was at a time when superhero films and whatnot were
kick off.
I always talk about like when that shift all happened, you know, and I feel like it was during that time, probably like middle to late Totally Rad Show, when the superhero movies started becoming a thing.
Well, it was 2008 when both Iron Man and Incredible Hulk dropped.
Is that when? So when did The Watchmen come out?
That was before that. When did The Watchmen come out?
I feel like to me, in my head, that was like I
feel like I remember them even talking about that too.
It was a superhero film, but it was like a serious.
You know what I mean? It's a whole. Yeah, it's definitely. I can't spell. Cool.
2009.
Oh wow! So that was even after. So that was after the MCU as well too.
Okay. Well, but the early MCU is kind of different than where we are now, right? I mean,
I still love the original Iron Man, and I feel, and I say that because I agree with what you're saying. I feel like they still had the money; it still looks good, and you can watch it. And it still is awesome. Yeah. But like we've gotten so.
But it wasn't MCU. They didn't. They didn't know where it was.
They weren't sure how they were gonna. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
They had no clue.
They had an idea. Right.
And because I remember, and you were probably the same, when it was like a new Iron Man movie's coming out. Like Iron Man is the lamest superhero.
Right, I know. That's how I'm like an Iron Man movie. Right. All like the ones they're choosing from.
Only thing I ever liked about Iron Man was the old arcade game, the Captain America.
Yeah.
And the Avengers. You could play as Iron Man.
I got it. We're over here on Super Nintendo somewhere.
But that was the only thing that was cool about Iron Man.
Yeah, because you could fly the entire time.
Right. So the fact that an Iron Man movie came out and it was good was kind of mind blowing at the time. And it blows my mind, like the reality we live in now, where Iron Man is like, if we were ranking of the superheroes, he's like top tier.
He's so super popular now.
Yeah, like that's crazy to me.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely crazy to me.
I know.
I mean, I honestly even like I wasn't even a big Spider-Man fan. Like growing up, you know, growing up.
That bathroom?
Well, but not. It's different. It's different now.
Yeah,
it really is. Like I mean, even pre like the Tobey Maguire movies, like Spider-Man was a write-off comic.
No, what?
It was.
You see these boxes of comics over there?
I know. But also, I like when I got big into comics, it was Spawn, it was Wildcats.
You see Spawn over there, by the way?
It was the Image era, which kind of tried to shit on all of the legacy stuff.
Well, that's because Marvel didn't want to pay the proper royalties to those guys, so it was so punk rock of them. They left Marvel, started their own thing.
Right. It was the anti-establishment.
Yeah, it was Eric Larson, Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, like all these guys going middle finger Marvel and DC.
Jim Lee was like, I'm gonna come over and draw these awesome covers now, and not for you guys anymore.
Yep.
It was
that's a good way of looking at all that.
Yeah, it's a lot different now. I don't even know how we got onto that. Oh, the Watchmen.
Anyway.
But yeah, I always felt like the Watchmen was like the tipping point when superhero movies started becoming taken a little bit more seriously.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think that's I feel like
it's kind of forgotten about now. I don't even know what's going on in the Watchmen world.
Have you watched the HBO series?
No.
Okay, I'll explain that in a second.
I'm completely lost.
I know I don't want to get too far off track, but I do want to say that I don't feel like enough people. Because I even think Sin City can be in that conversation as well too.
Sure, I agree. I agree. That was that same era and same vibe too.
Right. The MCU, like the Incredible Hulk, which was done under Universal and is loosely considered part of MCU, but like the true MCU start was Iron Man. They were so like Disney in your face. You know what I mean? Like it's a different thing and a different vibe. But when you look at some of these other pieces of work or art of the same genre, like a Watchmen or the Sin City, like it's a deeper writing or dialogue or story. It's a little bit more heavier. And I feel like it's interesting to think about that because I guess even I don't think about how much Watchmen was clearly in that area, but it also gets forgotten the most as well too. And it's a more of a thinker side of it too. And the reason I bring up the HBO series, they only had one season of it. What's interesting about that is that I don't know if you've ever read the graphic novel, The Watchmen. It's a little bit different, deviates, especially nearly the end with Watchmen, the movie. But the HBO series takes place after the comic, and it is one of the best well-written series. It's one season. It's really good.
Okay.
I would highly recommend it.
Okay.
If you ever get a chance to watch it. But Regina King, I believe, is the main actress in that, and it's phenomenal. Anyways, so to bring up full back around, what the point I was trying to get at is that those two podcasts were the reason why, and again, this comes from you, right? This was the reason that I and the fellow we used to live with originally did create a podcast, which was CRTF, chatting around the fire.
I know, which is it's so crazy. Yeah,
I have all the videos on this
archive.
PC,
You should upload it.
Oh, well, do you remember last year something I was sending screenshots?
I do,
to
and they popped up recently. Someone else tagged.
Somebody else did. Yeah,
I just saw it a couple weeks back. Yeah,
on like a fucking
we're
480
on the back
camera
barbecuing or something.
The barbecue. Yeah, that was one of the best episodes that we did because we had a group of people. We were doing a CRTF barbecue, and
it was. It's funny at that time. You guys were doing CRTF, and I was doing the Digital Something podcast.
Oh,
in the basement with Jeremy Pluta. Do you remember that?
That's right.
I had that going for a few years.
Jesus
from
Christ.
all that stuff.
Man, because everybody was doing a little
and then Jeremy Pluta has gone on to do, to this day, he's doing various shows and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's that whole other side of our friend group that we don't see a whole lot or talk too much, but he's still running with all that stuff. That's from doing the Digital Something thing, which is a whole nother topic.
That's crazy as shit. And I remember there was a while where Sean was trying to do a podcast, like everybody started getting to it, and then it was almost like Noel Court was this weird breeding ground for like
hub of
like very hip
stuff.
New shit, creative stuff because and we'll get into something in a moment about that as well too in a few minutes, but that was the inspiration for starting CRTF. It was just happened to be one night. It's always funny when I watch the first one because it humbles me. This is 2008, and we're just sitting there, and out of nowhere, we're just like, we're gonna do a little podcast. Yeah. I had the camera up. I just bought a camera. We're gonna do a little podcast, and Sean Peasy was there for the first one.
Oh, really? Okay.
He's on the first one in the corner.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wearing his dark wife beater, the classic dark wife beater,
gotcha.
And
just came from a beating,
probably. and when you watch it, we're like, we're gonna get some drinks going. So I run out and grab some drinks, and it's funny because the first one, we're not even looking at the camera, not even like looking at each other.
There's no structure. You're just whatever
at all. We picked up a 360 controller. We're playing N+. I'll never forget.
Oh wow, okay.
And then the whole bit with chatting around the fire, CRTF was we always had a guest, and we always had a candle lit.
Had a candle, yeah.
And I always say it was because Teddy Roosevelt used to talk on the radio, and do fireside chats.
Sure.
and that's where that all kind of deviated into that whole thought process and all that stuff. And it was
Teddy
all
Roosevelt.
inspired. Yeah, right. I was inspired. Yeah, I went out and did some hunting afterwards, but it was all inspired because of a lot of really totally rad show because CRTF.
Yeah, we were just seeing all these other things. This like, I don't know, like you can call it like the punk rock, the anti-establishment, like just alternate media.
Yeah,
right, type of stuff.
That's a great way of looking at it. It was very punk rock,
and it became like I could just go upload this feed somewhere,
and that's what we were doing.
Oddball service that just sprung up. You probably had an RSS feed somewhere. I mean, I remember like the digital something days. I was literally like adding a file to like in a text editor and uploading it to our website.
Jesus.
You know, like just weird.
Yeah,
it's also easy now. You can just press a button and
you go to YouTube and upload, and like
kids these days got so easy.
I know, right. Well, we did. We started video, so it meant editing. So that meant Sundays.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you'd have like a day of.
I had to 4-hour edit that shit. I had to learn Sony.
Yeah, I remember
Sony Vegas 8.0 or some shit. I don't remember.
I feel like I remember pirating Sony Vegas.
I think you actually
whatever,
Vega.
Probably.
It was Vega, and I think you pirated it for me. I mean, but yeah, it's just funny to think that all of that became that time period. Yeah,
it's still going.
And because of that, like, and we didn't podcast very often. It was on and off through probably about 2009, 2010, and then it finally
just fizzled.
Ended because we took breaks and stuff like that. I mean, because there was another thing we started doing. Not to mention drunk all the time. Like it was a very like I said. There's a couple years in there where it's a haze.
Oh yeah, and that's part of the reason I don't remember. I don't remember, period.
How many times did you think you come home from work and we're like, by the way, we're having a party tonight?
Oh, right. I mean, there are times where I was like, I'm going to bed. It's midnight. I have to work in the morning, and Rock Band's still going on. So 3 a.m. and it's drums or whatever,
right.
like.
And then we lost our drummer.
Yeah. So the drummer went to bed, that loser, and I'm literally upstairs.
Right.
Trying to sleep.
A room above, going, these motherfuckers. But yeah, it's weird to think that from chatting around the fire and CRTF, doing that so briefly, and then flash forward to 2018, I started game streaming on Twitch because Prime Loop, he started doing it, and I watched him when he had less than 100 followers, and he's like, you need to do this, and I'm like, all right, I'll start doing it. So I started doing it, and then I learned real fast that I get gorp face. I don't like gaming and streaming, as that wasn't the thing, but I was like, kind of want to do it. It made me want to do
get back into some
and there was creative. There was a guy on Twitch out of Chicago that homebrewed, and he would sit there and chat, and he would homebrew all day, and that was always I would watch the fuck out of that. That was cool.
And those are things that I always wish I would have done. Do with our business, do more of that social content and whatnot, because I could have just done it.
That would have been perfect.
Could have done. And then, I mean, Nicole, she always wanted me to do that, but I just never, for some reason, never did it. So, but yeah, it all it's funny. It's all from that stuff that, I mean, it's like sometimes I'll stumble upon like the old Totally Rad Show stuff, and it's such a nostalgic, like, I feel like in a weird way, like we know them, dude. I met them.
Did you?
In real life at E3.
I remember
I took the picture of them doing the explosion fist.
Damn it.
Yep. So I actually got to like shake all their hands and tell them, big fan.
Yeah.
Totally. Like I was oddly starstruck.
Yeah.
But it was like, I couldn't believe it. First of all, I couldn't believe how small Dan was.
No wonder he's just a little baby.
But got to meet them at one of my trips out to Los Angeles, and got to do the whole pose. And I remember on their final episode at the end during the credits, they went through fan photos, and one of them is there's a picture of me at the end there.
Fucking wild.
I was like, man, that was like crazy.
Yeah,
like crazy. And I remember when I saw them in real life. At first, I saw them. So during all these times, I was running a video game news site on the side, kind of as a ploy to get myself to go to E3. So I got to go to E3 2 times. And the second
Media
time,
pass.
So the first time I got through working at GameStop.
Oh shit.
You just had to be a retailer.
Yeah, we used to we used to be able to do that. I remember.
Yeah, and this was
early on.
This one in E3 was like E3, like it was like the shit, man. Like the first time I went, it was incredible. It was like, this was E3 in its prime. Like I got to sit in. I was there when Half-Life 2 was unveiled. Like, shit myself, like one of the games that it's like shaped me, and I got to be there. I literally got the second time we went, we actually got to go into Valve's private booth to see Left 4 Dead 2, and it was fully catered.
Did you meet
and
Gabe?
Gabe was there.
Oh my
Didn't meet him, but Gabe was there.
Uh-huh.
But got to be there and ate food on their dime and everything.
Wow.
But anyways, back to the story. The Totally Rad Show guys. I saw them like from a distance filming like apart, and I have pictures of them. And then I waited for them to be done and look like they're chilling before I approached them, and was just like, just wanted to come and say hi. Huge fan. Yeah. And right away they were like, "Do you want a picture? Do you want to do the fist thing?"
Right.
I'm like, of course. Fuck yeah, I do. Of course.
Really?
Waiting for my whole
Any
life.
open mouth kisses?
Ah, man, I took them back to the hotel. No, but it was incredible. And that's a whole nother, the ability to, going to E3 in its prime was kind of facilitated by all of this. Probably me never, like if I didn't start working at Software Etc., like none of that would have ever happened. It propelled all of that on my line of,
And that's kind of the theme of our conversation here.
Right.
Is how those little things from back then, like you being really close to the pulse on this shit, sharing it with me and others around you, and now, you know what I mean? Like,
and I think one of the
crazy.
The key factors to that too was like I was always kind of like back then none of this was easy, right? You had to film, you had to edit, you had to upload, you had to figure out a file, etc., whatnot. But I was always like the tech guy who kind of just like figured all that stuff out, and I helped facilitate that for a lot of people. Like I've had websites since websites were a thing.
Yeah.
Like I always had little gaming sites or little just stupid things.
Not like just a word. I had a WordPress for CRTF.
Oh yeah, yep.
I had to fuck with that.
Yep, I remember that.
A lot of fucking work. That's how we got our.
That's how your feed was probably through that, right?
It was right through through WordPress because there was nothing else back then. And then you're sharing it on. Literally, I was sharing it on MySpace originally.
Yeah.
And telling everybody. I mean, we were tell a friend kind of thing. And then like we just start texting and sharing or whatever it was, and then finally
we tweet it to all of our friends via text.
Oh yeah, clearly, yeah. Go back to 2008 and check it out. Yeah, it's just it's nuts. But
shit.
So now, crazy enough as it is, and I don't know, it was you texted me and said, "Holy shit." I guess I don't remember what it was, but basically like Dignation or Alex and Kevin did a dig. Yeah, it was you that showed me that.
Okay.
No, was it? Or did I text you and say, "Hey, did you see this?"
I don't know. I don't remember.
God, and it's funny. Here's our
that was like a month ago.
That was not long ago. I'm trying to remember.
One way or another.
Right. I discovered it and then I texted you.
And then I was like, yeah, probably.
And you were like, absolutely. And I've already watched it. And
now YouTube just knows.
Yeah. They were just hanging out and they're like, we're doing like a Dignation reunion.
Yeah.
And then of course the entire everybody, it's like putting up the bat signal, like or like the end of Infinity War.
Like all the 40-year-olds have come out of the woodwork. Like, I've been raising my kids for the last 15 years. What happened?
We've been waiting for this for 10 years. Like, where have you guys been? And then they they're like, well, and actually they did the 2-part reunion. They're like, well, they did another one. Like, well, we're kind of thinking of kicking around
doing this. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Yeah.
I mean, right. And like every episode's been awesome because because like the thing about to explain what Alex and Kevin is that it's this.
Yeah, and they have a chemistry.
They have great chemistry.
They have a chemistry.
It's such a good rapport.
You know what's funny? Back in the day, they were very much, and this is a time and place type of thing. Yeah. They were very much remember the old Apple commercials?
Yeah.
I'm a Mac and I'm a PC.
Oh,
they were very much those two.
Yes, they were.
Those two guys.
Yes, they were.
And that played into it a lot. And they kind of have this like the same but different vibe, right. And they just have good chemistry.
And they've grown a lot in their tech and things in that nature. And they were early on big, like Tesla fans and different things.
And it's funny, like back in the whole Twitter, they were always like the number 1 and 2 followed people on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like
Jesus.
Back in the day. Back when that like it was like they were the first to have like a million followers. Like Twitter was very tech focused too back then.
Yeah. OG Twitter was
Before
when that broke,
there were celebrities, kind of took it to the moon, but it was it was all tech people. It was the Leo Laporte and the Kevin Rose were like the followers on there.
And then we founded that early as well too. Yeah. Somebody else who founded it earlier on here too was Brandon Schroeder. He he was one of the early Twitter guys around here too.
Because he was very I feel like if we would have met him a few years earlier, he would have been probably part of this.
I think he would have been as well too.
Great dude, love him. Haven't seen him in a while, but
every time I see him, it's like I've never not seen him for a few years. He's just an amazing guy to see. But it's crazy though to see Dig being back. Like I've been working on the last episode they put out. I think it was around Halloween. I'm still just trying to catch up. And it's just great because like, you know, when we're watching Dig Nation there, I mean, like you said, like there's a level of punk rock involved with it that, I mean, they sit around, they talk about all the big topics of the week, things that we may or may not know. They're drinking a lot of times craft beer or whatever it was, or now they're big into wine too. And I'm a big wine guy too. Like I don't know nothing about wine. I just know that I love it. But I love that they're starting. You notice they're starting to incorporate beers again out of the.
I noticed,
It's quite
they're
clear.
Getting real fancy. I saw they had a heady topper. I think is that what they drank?
Something
might have been a heady topper, which is I shouldn't say it's a fancy IPA, but it's an expensive IPA.
Sure. Yeah, and it's like so you're starting to see like certain things kind of fall back, and like they're starting to throw old Dig Nation clips.
But they're also both of them very. Like they've grown up a lot. They're very health conscious nowadays. You know, especially Kevin on his side. I've kind of followed him. He's had a series of podcasts ever since Dig Nation. He's really not stopped.
He's always two steps ahead of everybody.
He's a tech guy,
guru.
Yep, and he's been like he worked for Google Ventures for a while, and then was into very early crypto. And this dude's he's not. He's not struggling.
Yeah, and Alex is like always like he's reading scripts of shit or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
I don't even know. For the longest, he was either working for Blizzard or a part of like the official WoW like marketing, doing stuff. He's always been doing all sorts of stuff. And then back to the Totally Rad show, the Jeff Kanata, the third, and I've listened to his podcast every week still.
No shit.
So he's still been doing things. He does all sorts of stuff as well.
Because he always felt like, Dan felt like the little baby.
Yeah.
But Jeff,
like the elder.
Yeah, he was
elder
like
man.
He was like the Kevin guy of like the Backstreet Boys. Like he's 50 years old, but he's in the band.
I don't get the reference.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay,
let me Google Backstreet Boys here real quick.
But no, it's great to see them back around because
absolutely.
I'm at this point in my life. We're in our mid 40s, and we're looking back, 15 some years ago when or even before. It's more than that even at that point. Like we were still late 20s, and we're looking back, and like you said, like everything was like just. It was still party time, right? And these little things, these little pieces of just life, things that you come across, media, whatever, and it's still now in some way, even though there's maybe a hiatus here or there, it's still pretty integrated heavily. And to see them come back,
absolutely.
I mean, it's like dad
blanket.
rock, right?
It's
a warm blanket.
It's a warm blanket. When I watched the most recent episode, which is probably the best one yet, and they're all good. It was just like.
Right.
I feel good right now, man.
Yeah.
Like this feels good.
Right.
I felt like I had wished I was watching it with.
I was just gonna say, others, maybe since they do it every 3 weeks, maybe if we ever get time, maybe we should just plan a night where we can just get together and just watch.
Do you have an Xbox 360 over there? I'm gonna download it.
Maybe I got it. You should.
Can you download from YouTube? There's ways to do it.
Yeah,
right?
you can. Oh, you can. Absolutely. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. 4K downloader.
Funny.
Yes, you certainly can. But yeah, we should totally consider that maybe once in a while. Get together.
Pick up a 40 of Mickey's.
And watch a couple episodes of
duct tape them to our hands.
That's how I learned about Edward Forty Hands.
Yeah.
That's how I learned about Edward Forty Hands.
And doing it a few times and trying to pee and
man. Get some old English.
Great to me.
So I guess I'm trying to think. Really, I mean, actually, we kind of got through some of my questions on that as well too. But you did actually kind of allude to something that I did wanted to bring up, which is as far as podcasts right now, sounds like you're still kind of listening to them. Do you have one or two particular that are like these are my favorite, these are my things now?
So really, so I've been a software developer for the last 20 years. I've worked remotely for the last 7.
You're probably the person I remember.
Like, pre-COVID.
In that
COVID hit, and I was like, nothing's changing for me. My job's all remote.
Yeah.
Like, I still have to work every single day. Yeah. I was like oddly envious of people whose jobs closed down.
45-degree first.
But we so podcasts have just kind of always been something I can have on in the background or whatnot. And one thing that we haven't touched on that's been big in my life, and I don't know if this ever really hit you. I was a huge Giant Bomb listener. I don't know. Are you familiar with Giant Bomb? The website and podcast?
No.
Gaming website.
Tell me.
You might remember this story because Giant Bomb formed probably about 10 years ago now. Jeff Gerstmann was the main guy. And do you remember there was some controversy with GameSpot, not GameStop, GameSpot, the review and the website? When
I do.
A Kane and Lynch game came out, and they had to redact a review or something like that.
Yes, I do.
So when that happened, Jeff Gerstmann and a few people from GameSpot split off and formed Giant Bomb. They quit because of all that. Because
that I don't remember. I remember the big piece of it.
So a lot of people in the industry and the community kind of vaguely heard of that. But what the outcome of that was, Jeff Gerstmann put out a bad review for Kane and Lynch. They were the main advertisers. Some controversy happened. They had to redact and redid the score, and all this like unethical stuff happened.
Jesus.
Jeff Gerstmann's been in the industry forever as a reviewer and
so he was being legit and honest.
Yeah, and he's like fuck this. We're gonna go create our own thing, and they created Giant Bomb.
Okay.
And there was Jeff Gerstmann. There was a few others that peeled off and created Giant Bomb. And Giant Bomb's been going ever since. They've had a lot of people turn over recently, but I've always listened to the Giant Bomb podcast. There's the Bombcast, and then the Giant Bomb. I can't remember what the other one's called. They have two main podcasts. They've within the last 3 years or so, they've split their separate ways. So now Jeff Gerstmann has his own podcast. I listen to that every single week, and then a few of the other guys peeled off, and they do the Next Lander podcast. And both these are gaming oriented. Jeff Gerstmann, you would love, because he's like an old video game head. He's been in the industry since reviewing like Super Nintendo games.
Oh shit, okay.
He's like veteran,
like level. An Adam Sessler.
Better.
A little. I was gonna say not as like insane.
Better. These are if I were to, compare them to the Totally Rad Show Dig, these are people that I feel like they're our peers that I've kind of grown up with and have been in this industry the whole time.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So I listen to them every single week, both their podcasts, and then various other things. I do a lot of the comedy stuff that comes through. I know you had mentioned Bad Friends earlier. Bad Friends.
Saw them live too.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah, and there's a few different.
Like Stavros at all? Do you get the Stavi at all?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's pretty funny as well. He's funny. But yeah. Bad Friends is probably my big comedy one. I go
through waves.
I feel like I do too, because I love
Tiger Belly. I used to watch a ton of Tiger Belly.
There you go. Okay.
Yep. But it kind of comes and goes in waves with them. And same with all of the comedy podcasts. Like for a while, used to very much look forward to new episodes of Kill Tony.
Yeah.
When that came out. It's hit or miss.
Yeah.
It can be, they like to be edgy Texans at times, which doesn't sit well with me often.
Yep.
But
I get it.
It's I like the comedy stuff, but mostly it's video games, sometimes tech.
Okay.
There is Brad and Will have a tech pod, I think is the name of it. It's
Will.
So Brad was one of the former Giant Bomb guys.
Okay.
Will was from. Did you ever watch anything from tested.com?
Mm-hmm.
Tested.com is an old PC hardware website. Then once Mythbusters ended, Adam Savage bought it. So it's Adam Savage's Tested. So this is one of the guys who was on Adam Savage's podcast for the longest. He since separated. Will moved on from there, formed a virtual reality company, and now does a tech podcast weekly with Brad formerly from Giant Bomb. But they do a very good weekly tech podcast that each week just kind of chooses a topic, and it could be pretty deep, but it could be literally just like, this week we're talking about routers. Like you'd mentioned earlier, like I just got that fucking boxer, I don't know what it does. They kind of do a deep dive on that, but they make it easy to parse.
So you're still keeping a pulse on tech shit in some small way.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's all there's a you can weave this literally all the way back,
all the way
to Dignation or Totally Rad Show.
Isn't that amazing to think about
somehow.
that? Yeah. My original podcast was because it was like a lot of Totally Rad, but like a piece of Dignation. And now even the reason I asked Brent, said, please do this podcast idea with me, a banter and bat. We had to work on a name, was because I wanted to talk about entertainment, pop culture, news, review, whatever it was because of all those years ago doing watching Totally Rad Show or whatever it was. And then, and then now, being able to evolve that into more almost like a Dignation feel with this as well too.
Right. Yeah. And just chatting.
Yeah. And it's just, it's wild. So we're gonna kind of bring it home here shortly, but I do want to point out something.
Sure. Your
son of a bitch of a cousin has just joined the chat And this SOB I've been trying to get hold of all week
That's hilarious.
has joined the chat. Welcome the one. Yeah, he's laughing now too. He knows I've left him voice messages. I said
He's seen all these messages.
he's seen them.
He's heard them all.
You can see on Facebook Messenger when somebody's face has seen the message. It is quite clear he has heard me, he has read me, and he leaves me on pause all
it
fucking
is in our blood.
Yeah.
We don't get back to people.
Yeah, you did say that.
We don't get back to people.
And I want to say this real quick about Mullet here. I still love you, and I really would like to see you, and I think you should get in the chair at some point with us as well too. I think that would be a good conversation because
he rode that wave with us as well.
He was definitely part of that. I'll never forget the first time I met him, and you were like, "My cousin's coming over. We've been best friends or whatever."
He might touch you.
Yeah, you did say that. You did, but you like I remember you saying kind of specifically. You were like, you're probably gonna get along really well. He's a little nuts, and it was true. I think we probably open mouth kissed for about an hour, but no,
hanging out in the garage.
And just having a good time. Like I don't even know if we ever talked anything coherently, the three of us, but I do remember us getting drunk a lot.
Well, there was that run where I believe he was doing his clinicals in Midland.
So he was coming and staying with us 1 or 2 nights a week.
Sleeping on the blue couch.
Yeah, on the blue couch downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. God damn, those were the days. But I still love you, but you're still a piece of shit as well too. So either way. All right, we're gonna bring it home just with a few things just to talk about. Bicycling around Saginaw. What is that called?
Counter cruise.
Are you still involved in that?
Yes.
Okay.
My wife and I. So
what is that?
I'll make that quick. So years ago when we got married, moved here, she was mostly looking for things to get involved in the community. Yeah. We tried a few things. She started seeing this bike ride started. So we weren't there on like day one. We were there shortly after. This guy named Ben started it up with a couple friends. It was like, hey, on Monday, I'm going to meet at the stable in Old Town Saginaw and we're going to ride.
Yeah.
And then it kept growing. Nicole, so I would always have to work Monday nights. I was working at the brew shop. Nicole would have it off, so she would go. And then after a few rides, they're like, hey, we need some help with this. And we've seen you around. So they asked Nicole to join. And then the next year, I started getting Monday nights off. So I started joining. And we continue to grow it. So every Monday during the summer, through spring through early fall.
Yeah, when the weather breaks.
Yep, we meet up in Old Town Saginaw almost exclusively, and we do a community ride. It is anywhere from 75 to 300 people.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Usually it's in like the 150 range or so. And we have a group of 4 people, myself and Nicole included, that take turns each week just defining the route, leading it. And that's literally just me looking at the map and trying to figure out a way
go this way.
Yeah, we can make sense. And it's a lot more challenging than that actually, because we've done this so many times now that it's like I try to keep it fresh.
Right.
But we start from the same spot every time. And so you're kind of limited in how many places you can go. But it's an awesome way to just first of all, Ben started it just as something fun to do.
Yeah.
Let's just be silly and go for bike rides. That's kind of Ben. Ben's a very creative dude. Likes to just kind of do silly shit. He's big into art and music and whatnot. Works at the museum here in town. Has a band. Had a venue that was the Counter Culture Club. I don't know if you ever heard that. That's his building. He owns that. So started doing Counter Cruise. Kind of our mission. We don't really have we don't have an official mission statement. It's literally just let's go ride bikes. Let's not think about anything. Let's go ride bikes.
Right.
My mission, though, for the longest was let's take the racist white people from the township into places they're uncomfortable with, and to teach them that these places aren't as scary as the media tells you that they are. Wants you to think. So let's get you out of your comfort zone a little bit. You were told not to go across the river or across the tracks or whatever. Let's go there, and you can start realizing that there's normal people here that are just trying to survive, just like you are. They were just born in different circumstances and have
pretty fucking
all
awesome.
the other socioeconomical pressures that are holding them down. So that's what I try to do when I take my route. My routes 99% of the time we are going from the stable and we're going across the river,
right? And
we're going somewhere deep as I can, trying to find a street that we haven't gone down before. Because when you go down the street, you turn the corner, there's a little kid on the street, his eyes light up.
Yeah, waving
He
everybody.
thinks it's the fucking coolest thing in the world. He's like, oh, like Jesus Christ, there's 200 bicycles, and everyone's waving, and it just becomes a real like uplifting thing for the community.
That's great.
And Nicole and I we've been doing it ever since. I mean, literally, the Monday before our first child was born, Nicole was riding. You know, as soon as Ollie, our oldest, was old enough to ride in the car seat in the back, he's been on every single ride. Aiden, same way. You know, everyone knows the kids. The kids don't know any of them, but they've been raised on this.
Cool.
It's just become an awesome thing. So you should get a bike.
Yeah, I know. As you guys keep posting them, I know. And
it's and like, you know, Mullet has gone on a couple of them with us, and it's like,
that's if he responds to your messages.
Oh, right. Exactly.
Shows up.
It's like, can you just come on? There's a bike ride tonight. And next week I hear.
Right. Oh, there was a bike ride?
It was Monday. But no, it's just like, it's one of those dumb things. Like, first of all, it's Monday. Mondays suck.
Yeah.
You know, we're all Garfield on Monday, right?
Yes, we are.
Just want lasagna.
Yeah.
Fucking Mondays.
Yeah.
But no, you get to go out, you get to see the community, you meet tons of people. Like, it's something that's kind of lost in modern society, is like, you don't know your neighbors, you know, you don't see whatnot. But now, once again, kind of like working at a retail store in a, you know, at a time when a mall had people that go to it, but you start forming a community, and this is even bigger than that. You meet people from all over the place. Like, so you start knowing people from all over the city, from all walks of life.
Right.
You know, to the point where once again, when you go to Meijer or Kroger or whatnot, there's people that like either they usually know you. I don't know all of them, because it's hard to like know, you know, the random people that show up on these rides, but it's just a cool thing to do. It's a feel good thing. It's just fun. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it, because you're literally just riding bikes, and we do it. It's slow. Like, this is family friendly.
You're not speed cycling.
No, we don't have our hats in. I mean, I wear spandex, but
yeah, well, I mean, you got them on right now.
Right.
You can't see, but he does.
You requested that, though.
That's true. That is part of the request.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. There are, from, you know, my 2-year-old to, you know, 80-year-olds. You know, we now we've gotten big enough where the sheriff department leads our ride with a cop car. So they block all the traffic for us. Now, it used to just be us volunteers. So we have a sheriff in the front, sometimes another cop in the back, not always though. And then we have a group of volunteers. We have a bike mechanic on every ride. So if like you have a issue, like, we don't leave anyone behind.
Right.
There's always a flat tire or something.
That's the first
only
rule.
One ambulance though. Only one.
Yeah, right.
We had a guy hit a wet spot and went down.
Oh shit.
But we fortunately, I mean, we are probably 7 years in on this now or so.
Holy, yeah, that makes about sense.
Because it was before Ollie was born. Ollie's 5 now.
It was right around one of the times of COVID when we reconnected, and you're like,
"Gotta go by your house.
Give me your address."
And you, yeah.
And I was like, "Holy shit, there's a lot of fucking people." Because it was like 100 and some people. Like,
yeah, it just goes and goes and goes and goes.
Nuts. That's great.
Yeah, it's super fun. Makes you feel like you're part of the community, as opposed to just like
that. I mean, that's how you build a community. You just connect with people and you start from there.
It's huge. Like, now another group has kind of spawned from that, because we do every Monday. That, like, keep it on a schedule. It's our thing. Now there's a bike life group who does it.
Team B is on Thursday or something.
Yeah.
Team B, we know about you.
Pop their tires.
So when I first met you, well, before we do that, let's get into this. Yeah,
I haven't even tasted it yet. I keep pretending here.
This is the Old Nation Finestrum. This is I think I gave this a 5 now on Untapped. This is a dark Czech style lager, 5%. Man, it is. If you want to read it, I don't know if you've read yet. It's good. It's a delicious beer. I'm not doing little drink, big drink. I'm sorry, Josh, but I think I've cut back the drinking, and I'll explain at the end. But
you should taste it. Talk about it. Tell me what you're tasting.
Chocolate. I taste almost like a caramely again too with this one. I'll
plant some.
I feel like a little light breedy. Seeds. Yeah, a little. Yeah.
Think plum.
Okay. Date.
Prune.
Oh yeah, this has dates, I think, in it as well.
Doesn't it? But
I made it up.
No, but this style of beer, it's gonna have that. So generally, when you're in beer tasting, think of sucking on a cherry pit. Settle down.
Sorry,
Settle down.
got real excited about that
Settle
one. Okay.
So stone fruit.
Okay.
And I shouldn't say just a cherry, but like a dark stone fruit.
Okay.
All right, like a plum.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I love those kind of fruits.
You start getting that. I know there's a the commonality between a cherry, a plum, a date, and specifically the stones that are in them, and you get a little bit of that flavor throughout all of these.
Yeah.
So just like those darker fruits that have a pit or a seed in them.
And this is your first time having this, right?
Yes. So this, you know what this tastes like right now? It tastes like.
I'm more interested in what you have to say. Yeah, because it says hints of date right here too.
If you took this,
because I was gonna say bready, okay,
and if you took out all the spices,
all the bullshit,
all the novelty things that I would call it, you've got this base. There's probably some like candied sugar, so like a syrup that's been almost burnt. I don't know.
Okay. Well, you're saying, I'm kind of reading and seeing if you're getting. Have you read this yet? Did you really read it?
I browsed through a little bit, not all of it though.
I think you're hitting pretty close there because I thought I was right. It's hints of dates, sweet bread, and I can definitely get the breadiness, milk chocolate, and of course the coffee as well too.
Yeah, I get the coffee quite a bit.
But this is, definitely. This is one of the best beers I feel like Old Nation's made.
This is a good drinker. It's just a it's a beer. It's not
overly heavy.
Right? You can drink a lot of it. It's one of those though, if you were to give this to like a Bud Light drinker, they'd be like, Jesus Christ. Like,
absolutely.
But it's not. It's like surprisingly light, even though it's
light. A lager,
even though it's dark.
Yep. It rides a great line about it. And when I first tried this, I don't know if Josh had it first. I think he had it first, and I was like, he reviewed it, and he was like, holy shit. And I was like, well, if he's gonna react like that, I'm gonna have to try it as one too. So then I went and bought it, and I was like, I was like, holy shit.
It's only 5% ABV.
It's only 5%.
Nice. You can just
keep drinking them. Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know if Old Nation. I think a lot of their beer releases now they're starting to, unless it's the big names, they're doing more of like a limited time. So if you ever get a chance, or if I even see one out there for Finestrum, if you need to pick one up, so Nicole can try it too, to hear her thoughts on it.
Yeah, we need to start drinking more.
Welcome
we
back.
planted the seed.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Do you still have the old arcade unit around?
Nope.
Okay. What was it called? Was it the Shump? Or something like that? What was that called at Noel Court?
I think it did. Yeah. It was because my intention was to have it as a vertical monitor,
right?
So you could play the old vertical shoot 'em ups.
Yes.
Mostly though, I feel like we never ever played any of those games on it.
We never really touched it.
No,
honestly.
I remember it was on at some points. I remember it. Remember we had arcade. We had like the
GameCube demo there for a while.
I don't remember what else was in there
because we managed to crack open the GameCube one and put a Soul Calibur 2 in there.
That sounds familiar.
We played and Smash.
But yeah, I don't have any. I shouldn't say any. I started building a small like barcade thing, and then I just haven't finished it. And now that it's like 3/4 of the way done, I don't even want it anymore. I want a full size cabinet.
We got to be careful because one of the last times you built a full size cabinet in the basement, you couldn't get it back out. Is that accurate?
That's happened. That's happened.
You gotta be careful.
What I'd like to do, and it's gotten like back when I got into building, I built my first cabinet in, gosh, it was at my parents' house, like a long time ago.
Yeah, who knows what year?
Right, like 99 or something like that. Like this was very early, this kind of stuff. And I ended up selling that one. I remember that was like the best one. That was like basically wanted to make sure you could play Ninja Turtles in 4 players. Yeah. But it was probably, my control panel was like,
holy shit,
like 4 foot wide probably. And I made it so it was like movable. It was Velcroed on. It was super, super awesome. But anyways, I'm back to the point where I want to either build or restore, and I prefer to restore. But since like arcades, it's become cool.
It's hard to find.
You used to be able to. I remember I went to an auction at the Midland County Fair.
Yeah,
that was like one of their whole barns was full of games. It was like $1, $2, $3. Like you could walk out $10 for an empty cabinet, and now You go on eBay or try to find them anywhere. You're hundreds, if not thousands.
It's almost cheaper to build it then, right?
Right. Yeah, or you can. There's companies now that specialize. You can like buy the kits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd prefer to restore, but I've been keeping my eye out there, and I just can't. You can't find anything affordable anymore because it's become cool again. You know, restoring them. Barcades have been popping up, so they're not just going into warehouses anymore. They're just, you know, people are scooping them up, and they're a premium. So yeah, I don't know. I'm on the hunt right now though for a beat up arcade cabinet to restore. And I feel like now that the boys are old enough to start caring, they should be introduced.
Yes, they need to be introduced to that. Yep. Okay, good. You alluded to it earlier, but it sounds like it's not you. But it sounds like you're not really playing the drums as much as you used to. Do you? Yeah. Do you hop on a guitar ever at all or anything like that?
So yes, but nothing ever seriously. I mean, I still kick them around a little bit. The guitar I picked up.
And it was heavy. You put it back down.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I haven't picked this up in a while.
Shit.
No, an acoustic. I have an acoustic hanging on the wall in the living room, and I play that.
Hey there, Delilah.
Just all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put on my white T-shirt. Turn the lights down.
Yeah. Right. Cry. Yeah.
Cry a little bit.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, I think like one of the things like with having kids, I always wind up like. My drums were sitting there collecting dust. I'm like, should I get rid of them? Should I get rid of them? But then it's like, no, I want the kids to grow up around them.
Yeah.
Like even if they're there and they can play them all the time, I feel like that's good for them.
Yeah. Even if they don't follow that, it might help be a gateway into music.
There's
some form.
There's something that's being planted that music is something that you should like care about, or even not important, like just the creativity, whether it's music or art or some sort of creative outlet, you have to like have something. Yeah. So I'm keeping them. I will. The good thing is, like, I work from home. There are times, like, generally when I play my drums, like something shitty's happened at work, or I'm like stressed. Like, I just need to go beat on something for a little bit.
Full on them.
Yeah, just go bonkers. And
cool.
And then the guitar, the acoustic, you know, I'll strum it, but with really no thought into it. You know, just kind of play along and hope the kids they like to fuck around with it. They like to destroy it. So
they're slamming
my nice
them.
Jackson electric is broken at the point right now because one of them knocked it over and cracked the.
Just go buy like a cheap old Guitar Hero guitar or Rock Band guitar.
I'd love to introduce them to the full band.
Right.
But it's it's difficult to obtain all that stuff right now in working order. So
what was the band?
You have to ask Jim.
It was
he quizzed me on that.
It was Battle Systems Roy.
I don't know if Grevin's in chat. He could.
He's probably at Meyer, but he it was Battle. He was the one that created it. Was Battle. Yeah, I know. It was Battle Stations or Battle Systems Roy was the name of the rock band that we had, and you know we just filtered in all kinds of people. I mean, he would sing constantly. Alice in Chains. I think I had STP. You were always on drums. Sean Peasy was the first one to get out of the comfortability and play guitar and sing at the same time.
Oh man,
he was like trying to next level that shit,
thing,
making us all look bad. But you know, we had full rosters a lot of the time. He would come over throughout the week, and man, remember when I bought DJ Hero and you and me sat there for like a week straight, like trying to
figure that shit out.
Yeah, satisfaction.
What a cool piece of equipment.
Yeah,
it was a very satisfying.
It's actually pretty neat. I was a big fan of it, but it didn't stick with the masses.
I mean, it was
real novelty.
Right. As most of those things are. I mean, Guitar Hero and Rock Band really they struck gold, and then they
fizzled.
Well, as with Activision, you milk them.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have a annual release, and you just got to run it to the ground.
You couldn't. And it was cool when they had the system with like Rock Band where you could add more packs and things like that. Guitar Hero wasn't more like that. And then they tried to bring it back out, Guitar Hero, in PS4 era around circa 2016. I can't get here. It was called something, but it was neat because they created it so they changed the guitar buttons to be more like strumming chords.
Sure.
And then they had the channel online it was like almost like MTV and VH1, like 2 or 3 different channels with like each hour would be like pop hits or metal hits or rock hits. The problem is they had Avenged Sevenfold over it, and you just wanted to not play it at all.
Now it's in Fortnite. like everything.
Yeah, I know. I saw the guitar.
I played a few of them with my keyboard just to see what it was
What
like.
the fuck?
Well, Epic bought the rock band company. What's their name? I can't remember.
So that's why that guitar is all around. People are picking up a guitar.
Yeah,
for
because
Fortnite.
so Epic bought. Why can't I think of the rock band team name? The company, Rock Band. Epic bought the Rock Band
What is
devs.
that team? Yeah,
Merged them
can't think of it either.
to their
Harmonix.
Rock Band. Epic bought Harmonix.
Okay.
And has implemented, all of the Rock Band-ish stuff. Not all of it yet, but they're working on it into Fortnite party mode because Fortnite has somehow become the metaverse.
That's fucking nuts.
And I don't hate them because
You're a big Fortnite guy.
Not anymore. I still keep tabs on it because of all of the live service games.
Yeah.
No one's done it better.
Everybody wants to model like
yeah,
that.
but everyone fucks it up, and Fortnite just does it good.
Yeah, I get it.
You buy if you wanted to, you buy the first battle pass. You've never had to buy one since then.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout you play the battle pass, you earn enough points for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
You could coast on that forever. Live events, like jaw dropping at times, just like incredible. The evolution of the world, it changes. Like just the content they provide, like they've done it better than anyone else. Yeah. It's gotten its reputation, as a kid's game, and I understand that because it's just goofy shit.
Yeah, it looks like
but
everybody. Then why is everybody trying to advertise their shit in it and put their skins in it? There's a reason why.
Because it's still
right. I don't play it, but I fucking I get it. I respect the hell out of it.
But overall,
you have to.
It's a detriment to the industry though, because now there are kids who are, 15 now, who you don't need to play another game.
Yeah,
you play Fortnite.
True.
You've been playing Fortnite for 6 years since you started playing games.
What else is there out there? Right?
So you play Fortnite, you play Minecraft, you play Roblox.
God.
You don't need. There's 3 games. You don't need anything else.
That's another one too. You got me into Minecraft.
So,
remember you
Minecraft
were playing
was early.
You were playing Minecraft like pre-alpha or some shit.
Yeah. Back when it was like
super crazy.
Notch put it out on his website, and that's it.
I'm serious. Yeah.
That dude is just.
Yeah, you were
turn that into an empire.
That's another one I didn't even have. Minecraft. You were the Minecraft guy too. That's fucking. Look at that. Another one, I guess, right?
In Minecraft, I think Minecraft has maintained at least a certain level of like.
Even under Microsoft.
They've kept it its own.
Yeah, it needs to be
its own thing, but it's maintained a certain level of like not bullshit. Like it's not a gotcha game. It's not
love it.
A battle pass.
Still love it.
It's very creative.
So, did you play Dungeons at all?
I didn't actually.
Actually, pretty fun.
No. I think that's one of those like as Ollie gets older, it'd probably be a great co-op game once he's.
It's very fun.
Yeah,
I highly recommend it. Yep, highly recommend.
I thought they have a Minecraft Dungeons arcade game actually.
Yeah,
just crazy.
Yeah, it's time to get into it. Duolingo. You have a Duolingo.
Are you stalking?
Yeah. Could you do it once, then just log? You log in once a day, do one quest, and then log off.
Mm-hmm.
So
here's the deal.
Yes, here's the deal.
My wedding anniversary, a couple months back, and I don't think I've told you this. Mm-hmm. My wife
started talking to you in another language.
Right, and I was like, I don't know.
I gotta figure out Duolingo.
No habla español. Is that right?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm learning Japanese.
I know you want to watch hentai.
Exactly. I want to know. Yes, exactly.
On our anniversary, we don't normally exchange gifts,
right?
Because I'm cheap. But she gave me an envelope, and inside the envelope was a passport application. Like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Color me, intrigued.
Yeah.
Then follow-up envelope was a brochure. And we're going to South America.
Oh wow, there it is. Yeah.
So we're going on an expedition in March to a hiking expedition in the Patagonia region of Chile.
Chile.
Yeah, Chile.
Chile. All right.
South America.
Yeah. That's cool.
So real quick, she's like, that's why, because she had been doing Duolingo for a while, and I didn't know. And she's like, well, that's why I've been trying to like brush up on Spanish, because we're going to be going to South America, and our guide is going to, he's going to be bilingual, but it'd be nice to be able to communicate, a little bit better with anyone else we encounter. So then I've kind of
logged in. He's logged in.
Hopped on.
You've logged in.
I'm at a 37-day streak right now.
You've logged in. And go, here's my quest for today.
The gamification of language learning,
oh
they are awful. Oh, Matt, you haven't signed in. Just do a little quiz because you got a streak that's
They
in.
don't fuck around.
No, it's getting cold.
I know.
The streak's getting cold.
They know how to get the gamers in. I know.
It's gamified.
Well, that's what I hate about it. I don't use it like that. I don't.
But you do.
I don't.
But you do.
I don't really. Well, I really don't. I actually, the point that the what you're talking about, that's what annoys me the most about it. Because like, I'm like, why am I being ranked against other people? I don't fucking care what everybody else is doing. You know?
But you do.
No, I don't.
Then why are you grilling me?
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
No, I understand what you're saying though.
Yeah.
You can.
It drives me nuts. I know somebody on there that plays it, and I know damn well he's doing it because of the experience points and trying to be
But that's. I mean,
that drives me
you see
nuts.
what they're doing.
Right.
And I understand what
It's
they're doing
smart.
because they need to encourage you, or you're not going to fucking do it.
But
I'm just going to learn Spanish.
right. Well, I mean, for me though, like I love doing it because I've always wanted to learn Japanese.
Sure.
It's an easy way for me to do it.
Right.
And I watch anime often anyways.
They make it very accessible too.
Yes,
I there's often times where I see what they're doing because it's like, okay, you got something wrong.
Right.
And then they'll rephrase it or they'll work it in a different way. It's like, like it clicks now because they just have a smart way at going about teaching
the
you
tough thing
language.
with Japanese, and I can't speak in any other language, I'm only doing that, is that it's also teaching me kanji. So I'm learning like that sort of stuff as well too, how to write it as well too. That's a whole other ball game, but I get it. Like I understand why a lot of people do it because there's people that I see on there. I'll tell you this. Admittedly, when I first started doing it, it was I don't care about the XP. And then after a month or so, I was like, I can't be below on leaderboard. About 6 months in, I'm coming up on my 2 years. About 6 months in, I'm like, no, fuck that. Because I started doing some reading. I'm like, why, like, what's going on with the experience? And a lot of people are out like there. You need to look at it differently. And when I started reading those, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. It's hooked me.
Sure.
So I stopped looking at it like that. So for about the last year and a half, I've been being more like, because there's been times I just do a lot of practice runs for like a month before I learn new words because I'm trying to like muscle
lock
memory.
in the old stuff. Yeah.
Right. And so I'll do just a lot of those and right now I'm on a run where I've learned, I feel like a little bit of enough where I'm trying to do as much new shit as I can to learn. So, but yeah, I just want to give you shit. I saw, I'm like,
it's funny. It's a new thing. Yeah. And I'll go
Okay.
on, just keep my streak alive. And then
I'm like, just trying to keep the streak going.
there are times where I'll do a little bit more than that, but right now it's been just kind of trying to maintain and and then I detest it, but I understand because if they didn't nag me, I wouldn't do it.
Yep. I get it. I know that 3/4 of the people on there are chasing the experience.
Yeah. I don't ever look at the leaderboards, but it's the daily streak thing. That's hooked me.
Yep. I get
And
it.
it's funny because they give you so many chances.
They don't stop. I know.
They're like, oh, your streak's in jeopardy.
That app,
do
I
this,
know.
and then like
There's
even if you miss
achievements.
it, you can like
I know.
earn it back, and
I know. Britt probably said that's cool because the reason I'm learning Japanese is we have aspirations in the next few years maybe to go to Japan. So,
Okay.
But I've also always wanted to learn it. It's easy, accessible. But anytime somebody just checks and does the bare minimum, I'll call them out on it. It's one of my shticks.
Are they sponsors? Duolingo?
If you guys like a discount code for Duolingo, by the way. No. So before I get to some of the last questions, I like to bring it home with just a couple that I do for everybody. I selected a couple. I always do the one main one, and then I select a couple that I think will be good fitting for you. But one of the things about you that has been a big theme here that I really appreciate is that you've always been somebody who's tried to culture the people around you. I feel like you've always been somebody kind of closer to. You talk about community, you talk about these learning new things and this, that, and the other, whether it's tech, whatever it is, you try to take that knowledge, you take it, but you also share it with those around you and culture those around you. And I feel like when I talk about how you've built to me, who I am today, and the aspirations and the things I'm doing, just doing podcasting, you've been a big part of that as well too. And again, showing us new shit, whatever it was, and probably even now you probably still do, and I'm sure there's something you said
in my back pocket.
I don't doubt. But I think that's an awesome quality to have, and I don't think that there's a lot of people out there that can say that you've taken things, you've learned stuff, and whether you realize you're doing it or not, maybe you do, and if you're even self-aware, that's even better. But sharing that shit and culturing people, I think is an awesome quality to have, and I think that if anybody can say that they've spent some time with you, You know, you always talk about legacy, whether you care about it or not. Especially Mike Tyson says you don't care.
Mike Tyson.
He didn't like to talk about it.
I don't even...
Right? Yeah, I know we're not going to talk about that tonight at all. But I do think that that's an awesome quality that you've been able to share with a lot of the people around you. Is you always try to culture us in some different way. And you talk about you even talk about comfort zone as well too. And I think when you said that, I was like, that's Matt. That makes so much fucking sense.
Thank you.
So yeah,
I think I appreciate hearing that. I think the most of it's subconscious, it just it's just kind of who I am. But one thing I think I learned early in the I don't know, nerd geek culture is that there's a lot of odd superiority complexes.
Oh my god, gatekeeping all over
drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And that's something I always tried to not do. It's like you want to share this, not
enjoy it with someone.
But yeah, and it drives me, and I deal with that in my even at my day job, where within software developers or just that type of field, computer people in general, there's so many I know everything, and you get that so much. Right. You could think of GameStop customers who are that way. I mean, you fight that all the time. And that's something I always fought against. It's like you can be a cool nerd, you know what I mean? Then that's just what it is. Share all of the stuff and be excited about it and fun. I don't know. I don't know, just be happy.
I even get caught sometimes myself into those negative things, but
I think we all do, but it's one of those things that I try to consciously be fight against.
Yeah. And
again, I think you said the gatekeeping. I kind of hate that word because it's kind of buzzy a little bit, but it happens so much.
It does.
In this type of stuff, especially any sort of fandom or geeky nerdy stuff. You see it all the time. Yeah, and
it sucks.
It sucks.
It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks bad. So, stop. Everyone stop.
Yeah, knock it off. Even though I do it too sometimes. What's a controversial hot take that you have?
That Fortnite's a good game.
Okay. You feel that's controversial?
I feel like it is amongst people of our age.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Here's another one for you. Name a band that you love that still defines you.
Ooh. I'll give you two right now.
That's great.
I'll give you The Devil Wears Prada.
Okay.
Because they were such just a scene band. Mm-hmm. Just real, I don't know, stereotypical scene band, and they've just grown up and matured quite a bit. And now evolved. I feel like evolved. I feel like they make, I don't know, I'm proud of them. When you hear their new music, it's it's substantial new music, but they still kept their I don't know, they're still rocking out really good. Okay. And then the flip side of that, probably my other favorite band that's completely not close to the hard side is the Dirty Heads. Are you familiar with them? Reggae hip hop ish.
I mean, I'm familiar with the genre, but
it's kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. But I have heard you probably have, because they've had some commercial success. Sure. But they are very much just summertime vibes type of band. And that's the other one, and it's just good, uplifting, happy music. And most of the music I listen to is not, you know. Yeah. And that often surprises a lot of people because I'm not a very down person, you know. Right. That comes up often amongst my mother-in-law, and I'm how do you listen to this music? It's so depressing. I'm no, I love this shit.
Right.
But then the complete flip side of that is that summertime music. I went through a big ska phase in high school, as a lot of people. Yeah, I think I was gonna say we all kind of. I think we all kind of did, but I was very much that skater kid. Yeah, you were. Up, so it went. Ska was a brief phase, and then it started getting heavier from there.
Did she ever say "see you later, boy"?
No, she didn't. Okay, she didn't. No,
just checking.
You had to ask. Everyone's got to
ask. Everybody's got to ask.
So yeah, those would be right now. Those are my two grown up choices right now.
Awesome. Diverse too.
I have a very musically.
Again, you're another person that I know
pretty diverse. Yeah,
even
though I prefer I prefer IPAs and metal.
Right.
But I will indulge in everything else. And musically, I like music. I would say that I detest country, but yet if it's a good musician, I will appreciate it.
It's controversial with me a little bit, but that's fine.
But you love country.
No. At all. Okay.
No, but I appreciate good like craftsmanship, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
if there's like somebody shredding on the banjo,
Yeah, you're gonna be like, damn, that dude
like,
shredded on a banjo.
yeah, right.
Yeah. And to be fair,
fucking
banjos
suck.
do sound pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So
Big fan. Okay. Roy
guys
was
playing the saw real well. I'm gonna,
yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Favorite pro wrestler that's not Rohit?
ooh.
Because you're still watching
Yeah.
AEW.
For probably the last 2 months, I haven't. I keep tabs, but I haven't been watching.
Life is busy.
Yeah, I'd say modern wrestlers. My favorite overall has been Hangman. By
Oh,
far.
you're I had to grow into him. I was not a fan originally.
Really? Hangman can do. He's.
Were you pre AEW NJPW or
Yep,
no?
yep,
Okay.
yep.
That. So I understand that.
Yeah, but even
I didn't
you didn't
know.
like him in AEW. I feel like he should be the poster child still. But I think he takes some steps back intentionally. I think he's a good worker.
Two things about that. I hate cliche gimmicks, and cowboy gimmicks drive me insane.
Right? Yeah, I would never think a cowboy gimmick should work.
It drives me nuts.
Yeah, understood.
What I appreciate the most about him, why I am a fan now, his in-ring work is there's no issue there. He's one of the best in AEW.
Yep.
He is one of only a small handful of people that have told long-term stories in AEW when in a promotion. The first one was when he was going through all the stuff with the Elite and doing like,
so
if you're watching BTE, the alcoholism shits, the stuff with the Dark
you could
Order,
go back to the tension,
all of
the
it,
Elite, just the subtle things that would happen.
He story
that you almost could pass off as not intentional, right? But from a big picture looking back,
yep.
Just a subtle glance.
Yep, just in the mirror or whatever, or
a certain
shattered
spot
mirror.
of a promo or whatever.
He's it's brilliant. And right now, his heel run is awesome. I get vibe. I mean, there's a reason why he looks like Magnum TA to me. I get vibes of old school like heel run with him, and Swerve have had one of the best. Yeah. Swerve's my favorite in AEW right now, personally.
Well deserved.
Yeah, and him and Swerve have had one of the best feuds, I think, potentially in all of AEW.
Yeah,
and it's a shame that. I don't mind that Swerve doesn't have the belt now, but I feel like that feud could have kept going. Like, I know it kept going to a crescendo, but I feel like that's one of the only things AEW's missing is like sometimes the
last little bit is always
like it almost just ends too fast. Like, yeah, we need a little bit more. I want like the Raw and the WCW days where like these guys hate each other for 2 years and they're fighting.
And I feel like Swerve was a champion that could have held on the belt for 2 years, 3 years.
I'm a huge fan.
I agree.
Huge fan.
Because I think a problem with both right now is that heavyweight title reigns, once they're over, it feels like the loser gets shuffled off into the mid card for a bit.
It's always kind of the bit
irrelevant.
It's always the chase, man.
Yeah, but it feels worse it feels a little worse in AEW just because they have a very high talent roster, talent from an in-ring perspective, but not so much I don't know. They're not great at building these characters. Hangman would be the exception. Swerve would be the exception. There's not a lot of other home.
The creative control with their own selves is great, but it's
great when when like Hangman's great. It's great when the person's great.
It's good when they see long term.
Yeah.
So, okay, and then the last big question I have for you, the same one I ask everybody else: Last Day on Earth, apocalyptic crash, blow up of the Earth. Your last meal, what's your 5 meal items? And it can be whatever, literally, in 2 drinks.
5 items?
5 items. It could be literally a plate of something.
Sure. Can I just make okay, we'll start with...
Yeah. It doesn't have to be just like sides, whatever you want as a 5.
We're going to do some homemade pierogies.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay. Something I grew up on.
Yep.
Oddly with just cheese inside. It's not a steak. It's not
perfectly fine. Potato and cheese.
Usually it's
just
potato,
cheese?
but just cheese.
Okay.
I grew up with my mom used to make them just with random shit on. Literally,
awesome.
She would. My mom and dad would make them with Hormel chili.
Oh my god!
Like a pierogi with chili inside was like a thing.
I'm already sold.
So anyway, I'll do some homemade pierogies.
Okay.
I'll do an OG Tony's steak sandwich.
That's the second time it's been mentioned on this. I love it.
With fries.
Okay.
So that's 3. I don't think I need anything else. I might as well throw a steak on there.
So we got pierogi, steak sandwich. That's 2. 2
yeah, we got fries.
Okay, fry.
Yep, and I want
fries.
it from Tony's in a bag.
Okay.
So where I grew up in Saginaw, over by Merrill Park Elementary School. There's a Tony's Takeout over there.
There's a takeout over there.
Yep. So I within walking distance from that. So a bag that's like soaked in grease.
Yeah.
So the fries are never. You would think you'd want them fresh and crunchy, but they're always soggy and greasy.
Right.
But it's a nostalgia thing.
There you go.
Kind of like the steak sandwich. I want it not toasted, wrapped in the paper, so it's soggy.
That's crazy. I'm the way opposite, but I respect it because
but
that's
but
the best
thing
part
is,
about a steak
the thing
sandwich.
Is, you're wrong. So, you want it wrapped in the sandwich, so it's like
No.
you have to peel the paper off of the soggy.
You don't even
bread.
know if you're eating paper.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at that
Doesn't
point.
matter at that point.
It's cheese
Right.
and sauce, and you know, there's been trouble here in Saginaw because the sauce got lost for a while.
Yeah.
But it's mostly back at least I've the Gratiot Road one that's in the city, not the one out in
The little one that I think me and you even went to a couple times.
I remember going there with you
Yeah.
once. Yeah. So that one, the sauce is
So I got to try one from there.
pretty good.
I don't really like
and when you
this
think about it, you know what the sauce is? It is
ragu.
so it's like SpaghettiOs with it's the SpaghettiO sauce.
Yeah, it's similar. That's why I don't usually get it.
It's not
I know.
you know, it's whatever that is.
Right.
It's such a weird. I don't think they celebrate this enough in the area because that's a Saginaw thing.
Oh yeah.
Like the steak sandwich, and that there's 5 Tonys.
They're all franchised. All do things differently.
Yeah,
There's
a little bit differently.
people try to argue with me like, oh, this one's the same as all. No, it's not. We argue a lot on Banter and Babble content about the best Tonys because Grev's got an opinion and like 5 other people got an opinion.
A lot of people like the one out by the mall, and that one.
That's my second.
Yeah,
I
think
like
that used to be a
my
Halo
favorite's
burger.
out in Gratiot.
Yeah, no,
Out in Shields.
no, I'll take the one in Gratiot in town.
Okay.
Or the takeout one, but that one it's tough to get to.
I'll have to revisit. Okay.
So I think we hit steak
Got
sandwich,
3.
pierogies, fries, a steak.
Just a steak.
A steak.
Any certain cut?
I mean, I would take like a fillet.
A filet mignon.
Yeah, medium.
So you want medium? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
medium.
Okay.
I health wise I had choking problems for a while.
Yeah.
Which is now resolved. Yeah, I know. Tony caused them. I'm medicated now. I can eat. I used to for a while. I couldn't eat steak. Mullet had to give me the Heimlich maneuver once. Yep. And then he wouldn't stop there.
I was gonna say that is like opening the yeah.
This is but no, he for real did. I was choking on steak once, and
Holy
he
shit.
saved me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Kissing cousins.
that happened twice actually. But anyways, for a while I wouldn't eat steak because I was having swallowing issues with it. But I have
that's rough.
I've been able to revert that issue.
Cool.
So steak, and then the 5th one. What? Man, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's just like amazing, nostalgic.
Yeah.
It was just
Maybe a dessert or something that you really like.
I'm not a big sweets guy.
Yeah, you're not really a big sweets
Not
guy.
a big sweets guy, but like a good fresh chocolate chip cookie or something would
There
be
you go.
great.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay.
We'll take that.
Okay. That's
And
good.
then you said 2 drinks.
2 drinks.
A can of Coke.
Okay. That's
I'm
serious. That was
not-
serious.
Well, I'm not a pop drinker. Very rarely, but every once in a while,
Yeah.
a can of Coke hits
that
a little.
Coke.
But in a can,
Okay.
cold hits a little differently.
That's interesting because everybody's the opposite. Everybody wants fountain.
Nah,
McDonald's fountain.
no,
Okay.
I want a can,
Okay.
a crisp can of
A
Coke.
crisp.
Yeah,
can of
Coke. That's my number one. Second on the Coke would be like the glass bottle, the Mexican
Oh,
Coke, the
yeah.
cane sugar Coke,
Oh, cane sugar's so good.
But a can, something hits about a can of Coke, and then it would be a beer, an IPA.
All right,
And I guess if I had to choose,
yeah, you do.
I do, or
let's do
or
it.
what?
Let's do it. Let's get specific on that IPA.
No, I'm just gonna say Two Hearted. Like, let's not go out with anything
Okay.
fancy or special. Take something that's like in your blood, it's
I
part of your
think
DNA.
that makes sense.
So, and I feel like that's probably not a surprising answer.
It is not at all.
So,
Actually, I was expecting a 2 hearted ale,
Yeah,
so
right.
that's fair. Okay.
a water and a seltzer.
With a little lime twist.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna do it. You've
Perfect
run.
timing. 'cause
You've
I have to piss.
Yeah, I do too. You've run the gauntlet, and hey, like I said, I appreciate all that you've been able to add to my life, to where I'm at now, as well too. And hey, how about first of all, this becomes because a few people that have been in our area to be a little bit of a regular thing.
Sure.
Come back, do this regular thing. How about sometime we do this, but we do it as a tribute to Dig. And we sit here with our laptops and we do
find some news stories,
and we talk about them. I think that would be fun. And drink some beers.
Absolutely love that.
Maybe do some Edwards Scissorhands or 40 hands.
I don't know about that, but
we'll try it.
We'll drink some beers.
Yeah, so
Get some
exactly.
soda pops.
But as far as Banter and Babble, we do, I believe, have a show coming up here this coming Wednesday. Other than that, you know, I do believe I'm going to be having another Let's Set the Tone next Friday. I'm going to have Half-Ass Beer Review Josh back on. Now he'll be his second time here. So it'll be conversational instead of throwing a bunch of questions at him. I mean, I'm always going to have questions, right? But this will be more conversational piece. We're going to do a food taste test as well, too, like we recently did with the Rubens. So we got something planned for that as well, too. So looking forward to having him back on and diving into some topics. But thank you so much, man, for coming on here. And thank you for podcasting.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Y'all take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.